Chaos, Dionysus, Hera, Hermes, Icarus, Narcissus, Medusa, Ephasos, Ashalalala, Sisus, Minerva, Ecobubus. I love it when you couscous. Aphrodite, Ventus, Chaos, Dionysus, Hera, Hermes, Icarus, Narcissus, Medusa, Ephasos, Ashalalala, Sisus, Minerva, Ecobubus. I love it when you couscous. Aphrodite, Ventus, Cuscus, Hera, Hermes, Icarus, I love Aphrodite, Ventus, Cuscus, Hera, Hermes, Icarus, I love it when you couscous, love it when you couscous, love it when you couscous, couscous, couscous.
We've returned. It's stage 2 for APL action. Rainbow Six Siege coming at you live. Guz, you're looking as good as ever. Did you get let out of school early because you've been doing sports, have you, or something? Like, you look like the school sport teacher. What's going on?
What do you mean? What the kit? What are you talking about? This is like typical Melbourne attire. It's been a little chilly outside, so I got to stay warm.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Rainbow Six is good to be back, isn't it? I mean, obviously, APL kind of kicked off last night. Now we go through for Oceania, which is going to be a funny one. As for those who are unfamiliar, we've only got the 7 teams throughout these group stages, which does mean only one team gets eliminated from playoff contention, which, for those who paid attention back in stage 1, Saga, now Dream Warriors, it seems like the organization has moved on, is probably in the running for that position. So our eyes will most likely be on them more than anything to see if they can actually improve on stage 1 to make this competitive. Otherwise, if there is no sign of improvement, then it's probably bang on that they'll be that 7th team.
Yeah, I suppose typically, especially in OCE, as a good example, we often hone our eyes on one particular team to do well and dominate. In this case, it's almost flipped to the extent of, can the one team that everyone has their eyes on actually escape the doomsday scenario where they miss back-to-back playoffs for the year. There is only going to be, as you mentioned, that one team that does miss out, and it would be disappointing to see them go back-to-back. Hopefully there is some competition towards the bottom of the standings to keep things intriguing. As for the top, there are some roster changes to monitor throughout this group stage, so there's still going to be some intriguing storylines develop in that regard, but in terms of stakes, for the vast majority of teams, they are going to breeze into the playoffs and prepare themselves for a run towards a slot at the major qualifier, which is the carrot that's being dangled at the end of the line here for a spot at Munich.
Yeah, I mean, this feels a little bit like the old co-streams we did back in stage 1 to begin so far. It's just
chill.
me and you. There's
chill.
no Rob, there's no James. For those unfamiliar from stage 1 and probably wondering why we're kind of back in this position, this time though, of course, on the main channel, playoffs will resume as we kind of had in stage 1. We'll be in the studio, we'll get through all the really, really good games, and essentially this is seeding to a degree, which, I mean, in the end, did the seeding matter too much? I guess going back into stage 1, reflecting for the teams that kind of finished first, second, got that spot straight through into the upper bracket semifinals, did it really have much of a say in the grand scheme of things? I don't think so. The beauty of the double elimination bracket is you get that second chance. That actually did kind of come to the forefront when you think about like Weibo in Asia losing that upper bracket final, being able to go down to that lower bracket and then eventually win the grand final as an example. So yeah, it's a long way to go, a long month ahead, and it all kind of kicks off now for Oceania. We'll go to the schedule for today's action. As I mentioned, with only 7 teams, it means that we only have the 3 games. So best of ones for tonight's action, kickstarting with Chiefs, who have got a couple of new additions, returning faces, if you will.
Yeah, Brendo and Sage, the brothers are back. I definitely felt like Sage was voluntarily done with the game and he was going to move on to bigger greater things IRL, but he has obviously now found a slot back on this roster, back with his brother. Chiefs will continue to be a very strong team. Unfortunately, that does mean Tex Josh depart, and so we'll see how that dynamic now shifts. Chiefs, again, the big talking point stage 1 was an over-reliance on Jigsaw, and they'll be looking to correct course for stage number 2 in the hopes of qualifying for the major. And I mean, eyes going down then to probably the final game as being potentially quite interesting. Enterprise, of course, with now the target on their back as they were so successful in stage 1. Man LFO, a returning name in the fold with some, young gunners that may be able to contest them and make an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and I know you didn't say it really in a way to insinuate the other matches aren't interesting. If you kind of want to look for storylines across the 3 for Chiefs, it's, with the new additions, can they get back to that dominance that we've seen from them throughout regular seasons in, years gone by? Whereas last stage, that roster really struggled during the group stage portion of APL. Dream Warriors, is there a sign of improvement? Could they cause an early upset if they beat Outlast tonight? I mean, I know it's play day 1, but we've seen this before in other stages of Oceania, especially where results on play day 1 have a big bearing. And I think Dream Warriors versus Outlast may end up being like, hey, if we can get 3 points from Outlast, geez, that goes a long way. And then, as you mentioned, Enterprise and Man LFO, probably the matchup that's as contested as possibly can be. But even then, the expectation is for EP to just roll over Man LFO coming back from EWC, where they gained a lot of experience being able to push a team like Furia. I think that has to be something they've now brought back with them for stage 2. come back to OCE, and you've just got to be able to get the job done. They'll be looking for a clean sweep throughout the group stage, and clearly for them, they'll know a lot of the work needs to be done in playoffs, which the beauty of stage 2 now is we've actually got the major qualifier LAN at the end of all of this, and it is a long end. We've got a solid month ahead, but it all culminates in the end with the best teams from all 3 of the sub-regions of APL coming together on LAN, and that in itself is a really good thing to have back when you kind of take into consideration we haven't really had it for such a long time, and certainly not in the form and the format that we've got it in for this stage. So while these games early on, I will preface, don't maybe have the biggest bearings, it is all a build up to what will eventually have, big influence later on in the stage.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We haven't had an APAC LAN, especially one on this particular scale, for upwards of about 5+ years now. So it is a bit of a build up. Certainly, though, better than formats of past, where BO1s, for example, determines who went to the major. So you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt that, yes, some of these matches may be a little less meaningful in the grand scheme of things. They do build up, and at some extent, they actually could have significant meaning. I mean, maybe I brushed over the Dream Warriors and Outlast game a little bit too much, our second for the night, just to maybe put a spotlight back onto that. Neither of those 2 rosters made playoffs in stage 1, and one of them is going to obviously make it through for this particular stage. So it could be a very close tiebreaker between the 2, and potentially the winner of this could actually be the one that breaks that and is able to qualify in the end. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we kind of look at this region in particular, considering this is play day 1, first day, Enterprise are the favorites. We went into last stage and it was kind of like a mixed bag of, we actually weren't sure who were the outright favorites. We labeled it as Chiefs, GG, Enterprise were maybe labeled even more as the dark horse. Certainly not a dark horse this stage. They're the number 1 seed, Chiefs the number 2 seed, and the team that's not playing tonight, for me, the number 3 seed in Ludovica. So they got the night off tonight, guys, as per, of course, the fact that we've got one missing team throughout this stage. Everyone kind of gets a bye week or bye play day. And so that's Ludovica tonight. So they kind of get to just sit back, see how everyone plays. But they're the team that excites me the most. I think if they can continue their promise of what we saw in stage 1 and go on the right path, I think that they've got themselves into a really good shot of being able to make that major qualifier LAN.
I think the Chiefs roster is ready to have a look at, so let's examine this new look roster for stage number 2. You are seeing that correctly. Brendo and Sage, the brothers, are back together once more. Chiefs looking to revitalize themselves heading into the second half of this 25-26 season. They'll still have aspirations, strong aspirations at that, of making Munich, of potentially then qualifying for SI in Paris as well, but it's an uphill battle after their demise in stage number 1, where they just couldn't quite get kicking along. We'll see whether or not these roster changes are enough to bring life back into the roster, because unfortunately they did just wither out and probably lacked some of the more well-roundedness that we saw from other rosters such as EP towards that tail end.
We're going to get into the game very shortly. There's a lot to talk about, but we can probably talk about it during the game. We'll bring up True Synergy Gaming and their roster for this matchup. Chiefs, of course, a team that have so many talking lines across all 5 players, probably. I mean, like Sage and Brendo in themselves coming into this roster, Jigsaw himself and what he was able to do stage 1, Oda, can he refine form? We'll kind of get through all of that, I guess, throughout this match to come. As for TSG, largely the same. I think we saw Machine. I don't know if Machine was in at the start of last stage, but he eventually did make his way into this roster. It's a difficult team to probably dissect in terms of where they're at. Do I see the same potential of a Ludovica? Not really. Are they maybe lower on the totem pole as a Dream Warriors? No, I don't think so. So they're a solid middling team that if you don't take them seriously could cause an upset. And that's probably where they sit. But I think a team like this Chiefs roster coming in first play day on Clubhouse, defense first up. I mean, that is as dream start to the stage as you could ask for the Chiefs. And so it's going to be a tough ask for TSG.
Yeah, Chiefs are not the same kind of roster we would bundle into the likes of like a Weibo from Asia, for instance, who may go into some matches and disrespect their opposition maybe a little bit too much and troll, etc., and that can lead to some compromised results. They are typically well focused, and I think especially bringing in Brandon and Sage, historically, who have both been very well disciplined players inside and outside of the server. They'll be treating every match with a level of importance that is warranted. Obviously, you're not going to reveal too much in play day 1 of you know, a group stage where you're almost guaranteed to qualify for the playoffs, but you still want to play some good Siege and build into what is a very big second stage. There is a lot on the line towards the tail end of this second stage, so you want to get off to a positive start.
Alrighty, let's kick things off then, shall we? It is APL Oceania Stage 2. First play day of the group stage, where, again, in terms of the significance and the importance, we're not going to beat around the bush here and try and hype this one up as if it's the grandstand grand final. It would be not doing this justice and not doing you guys justice. But I think when you're kind of looking at these games, consider it almost like, again, it's a marathon, not a sprint when it comes to the entirety of the stage. When you look at the bigger picture of overall what's on the line in terms of the Munich Major and how to get there and the path to get there, you know, for a team like Chiefs who have brought 2 players kind of back into their roster, so roster changes, it's all about building form and building good synergy, no pun intended, with TSG on the other side. And so that it needs to start now. It needs to start here because Chiefs were shaky as all shakiness could be back in stage 1, and that eventually then bled through into the playoffs. There was certainly, I guess, a thought in the air that maybe that regular stage form wouldn't fully translate into players, that they would be able to get themselves back to their best. That did not translate, and in the end it was the team that performed the best in group stage, aka Enterprise, that went on and won the whole region. So that's something that Chiefs will look to. Some of the storylines as well, I mean, as I mentioned before, Jigsaw last stage, the #1 EPS player rated in Oceania. Croxon was second. The problem is you cannot be so reliant on him to have to drop 20 to 30 kills. The solution, you bring Brendo into this roster, and he is capable. And, you know, pretty much, I think Brendo just slots in nicely. He plays literally the same role as he had been playing over the last couple of months. Jigsaw, the #1, you know, fragger, entry fragger. Well, Croxon played that role in GG. So Brendo really slots in still as that #2 guy, but he is a massive upgrade for this Chiefs roster.
Yeah, it's often a big discussion point with significant roster moves in the region is how well can a player actually slot in role-wise and their compatibility with the rest of the roster, whether or not they get along, if their ideas, etc., can translate into result. And I think there's little doubt that these changes will be an upgrade for Chiefs. And so we'll see if there's positive signs early on in this second stage. We can get up on the flat back in stage 1. Aggressive early game from TSG, blue hit off the rip, and Quiz falls first.
I think that's the way you're going to play, though, if you're TSG against a team like Chiefs. Try and hit them hard, fast, catch them off guard. You know, really try and solidify an early round advantage. You get that. You get the opening kill. Quiz wasn't ready, and Jigsaw taken low. And you can see the lineup that they've brought as well. I mean, it just screams aggression. Sorry, still has 4 Candelas available as well. Now, Sage is the other factor in all of this as well. Playing the smoke, you'll play an anchor support role. But he's also been out of the game for a little bit now. I mean, what's it been? Has it been a year, roughly? Good shot from Ned. I mean, Jigsaw was very, very low.
So now having to fight from behind in a unorthodox basement defense. Looking to bunker and find picks on the second wave of the entry, but easier said than done. Sage looking to aggressive SG. Brendo, his brother, alongside playing inside of Armory. Or Arsenal, rather. And they might be able to establish a cross here, but TSG should have decent amount of utility to try and break that. Candela's still available. Bees as well. The Blitz can play front line. TSG just need to show a little bit of restraint here. Wait out a little bit of this denial utility. And then they're in good stead to win the opening round. Yeah,
showing good patience, though. I mean, there's still over a minute left. The benefit of getting those early kills. Oh, it catches out Machine. Machine with a rather rough clear over towards Moto. Just gives Lifeline 4 Chiefs back into this round. Still 50 seconds. Sage as though low. The push to come through into Arsenal now for ACOG off the back of the Candelas from Cyro. But again, not looking to rush this. Brendo finds the pick, and so does Oda. And the old guard start to awaken in this round, and indeed they will. From a 5-3 disadvantage, Chiefs will take the opening round.
And they snap back. That's why you can't discard Chiefs in quite literally any position, especially against a weaker level of opponent, where they can restrain them in the mid to late round portion, and we saw that with good placement of that utility. Position-wise as well, they had crossfires established, or at least a couple directed over towards that blue here. I
Attackers need to locate.
So the other round they definitely got caught off guard, but then able to correct course towards the end, which is a positive sign for them. One thing as well I don't think we have mentioned is in terms of the bans, very clubhouse, so I didn't really feel the need to mention, but double hard bridge denial. So a lot of the game is going to be centered around that that mini game between the two. And we'll see that develop throughout the half. Teams will then need to dictate if they want to triple down in either regard. But the lineup in the first round is one that I think will probably echo throughout the remainder, echo throughout the remainder of the half. Trying to get some quick hits, some space off the $10 were available. Maybe employ a bit of a lurk as well, and we might see that in round number 2 with Ned on Nook. Let's try to combine that, and I think try to find a bit of a pacing that makes Chiefs uncomfortable, and if they can reiterate on the late round conversion, then they might be able to find some success here.
Certainly not my intention either to kind of forget about TSG and talk a bit about them. If I kind of just kick-started, Chiefs of course are always going to gain the attention for the notoriety that this team employs. But Ned was the 11th ranked player in Oceania last stage. His only one shortfall actually was his entries at -4, but everything else was rather in the green. And he starts well in the opening round, 2 kills, 2 early kills. So, I mean, that's really what TSG are going to look to in terms of, you know, one of their top players. Problem is, it does kind of drop off a little bit. I mean, ACOG, the only player back in stage 1 for TSG that had 100 or more EPS, and he was bang on 100. So, on 97. Had a really good start to the round, but I mean, those are the rounds you've got to be taking. 5v3, you're on Attack Club against Chiefs. And while this is a roster that has, you know, largely played together before, it is also a roster that hasn't played as much in recent time. Frag grenade, a little tricky for Oda, puts him in a bad spot, caught by Ned. Well, there's that entry kill, and Loyal catches out Brendo. Another good start to the round for TSG. A little concerning right now for Chiefs in the way that they're losing these players early on Defense Club. The one asterisk, though, is that they've been able to, well, not only salvage the first round, but get one back there onto Ned. So Ned, lively early for TSG.
Combination with the drop over towards Logi. Jigsaw does fall. Sage and Quiz now to try and clutch up.
And get Loyalith back up as well. Quiz trying to get active towards Jacuzzi. Take the fight to Syro. He does win the battle. ACOG will be able to bring Loyal back up. So Sage and Quiz at a 2v3. They're trying to take this door angle. Machine just does not need to play that at that time. There's still 45 seconds. Your Blackbeard is going to go pick up Loyal. Like, you just got to hold and just wait. And suddenly now they know exactly where these two players are towards logistics. 30 seconds on the clock. It is still a 2v2. Loyal is low. One final Candela. Eaten up, though, by the Wamai disc. Does still go off, though, anyway. I mean, this is not looking good right now for TSG. They are scrambling, and Loyal was low. ACOG needed to be the first one to make contact, and he does in the end. Onto Quiz, and then Sage as well, and ACOG will clutch up. It's 1-1. An early attacking round on the board for True Synergy Gaming. Deserved wholeheartedly with what we've seen so far in the opening 2 rounds.
Yeah, I think they've quite clearly come into this game with the inspiration of being aggressive. They don't want to be stalled out. They want to be they want to be active, make plays, try to make the Chiefs uncomfortable and put them into positions which are a little bit more favorable. And I mean, again, we saw good fortification late round from Chiefs, but this time ACOG was able to sweep through, did a good job, find the last 2 kills, and despite the quite extensive list of Blackbeard nerves that we have seen coming into this second stage, it's evident that you can still get value from him.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Well, an intriguing start. It was a 5-on-3 in both of the opening rounds in favor of TSG on Attack Club. And Chiefs, of course, were shaky throughout the group stage, back in stage 1. No kills yet for Jigsaw either. has been involved in a lot of the opening engagements, but not quite going his way. He, of course, did get that down onto Loyal in the previous round, held a good angle in cash towards logistics, but then, well, he was quickly swarmed. Oda 3 kills early. There's been a lot of talk about Oda's form really over the last year. Due for a big stage if he wants to keep his career going at the highest level. And so far, so good for TSG, and yeah, it's only 1-1, but an early attacking round, playing well, it just builds the confidence.
So Cash CC round 3, but it's Chiefs to strike first in this particular round. Ned falls, so it's the Nook in the grave, limiting some of the light potential, and if Chiefs are aware of that, they can play into it. Maybe can feel a little bit more comfortable on the roam, such as demonstrating that down below, and then that opens up the potential for Nitro Denial 3 on the board for defense. So let's now see how TSG look to problem solve a player down, and some of that playmaking potential stripped away. Might actually be a case where they simply have to force the con hit and hope that Chiefs bleed a pick or two. They might not be left with a ton of options, or at least ones that aren't super favourable. Jigsaw plays the Tuck Cash, and it's certainly a position to watch if TSG don't clear it correctly.
Just struggling to get themselves a decent foothold in this round, and suddenly for the first time in this half they are really on the back foot, and Jigsaw shows what he is made of and what he's been able to show us over many years now in this region. Sorry, couldn't get the trait and allows him to cross, but then he comes back. Jigsaw got aggressive, thought he was on a heat up, but cooled off by Cyro. Doesn't really matter in a 2v4 though, now low on time. He does have the kit. Machine really hasn't been able to get involved on that Capital. And they're just now looking to flame out the backside of CCTV. Wants a Nitrocell thrown in his direction. But amounts to nothing, and I think this round itself is going to amount to nothing unless Cyro and Machine can hit some wicked shots. Sage still over towards Rafters, uncontested. Brendo, yeah, he's in a tricky spot, but he can just hold and wait. Sensing pressure though. And he is low on health, but Quiz and Brendo combine at the end anyway. And Chiefs will go 2-1 up.
Yeah, sharpshooting again there from Chiefs towards the late round. Work was done early on in the piece with the successful roam / potential spawn pick. Didn't quite cap it onto the Nook. TSG, as kind of expected, then had to solidify for the con hit. Jigsaw unfortunately went unchecked despite the Blackbeard being available. And the round was informally over at that particular point in time. Valkying to join the rest of the remaining operators banned out for this first half. Ying has been a pretty useful tool for TSG in snowballing advantage. And with that now taken away, we'll see what they elect to lean into. Probably the Capital, the Dokkaebi, yeah, will be lent in 2 cents as well. Sees an appearance and might be used for the kitchen drop. So we'll see what they can cook up this round. Hopefully for them on attack, they'll have all 5 members up for that execute.
5 kills for Quiz as well. Players who has had a lot of potential, and I think the beautiful thing for Quiz is now he's been able to show previous events. You think back to Montreal last year, and it was him and Cairo were the ones that really stood out when they went overseas. So he is just as seasoned as the rest of this team. Certainly seasoned with a lot of international experience now. So far TSG have been competitive, which is really, really good to see. I mean, you can take it one or two ways. You know, maybe Chiefs not quite at the peak of their powers right now, or TSG have stepped up their game in contrast to Stage 1. You kind of think about Stage 1 as a blueprint for this stage, and what to look out for, or maybe what to expect. Elevate in Asia last stage started off a little bit slow, and they just kept building. Weibo as well, they were a bit shaky. In fact, the entire Asia region was very sloppy to begin and ended up very, very prominent. Slow clear from Loyal. But no funny business here from Chiefs. Not looking to be aggressive. It'll be a 5-stack basement.
Yeah, I think they're probably motivated after their last effort on this side, where despite losing the first few picks, they were able to recover late round with bunker strategy. There's probably no need for a team of their experience to be employing the roam, unless they're looking to pull your TSG off site. But I think TSG themselves on attack are showing pretty good resilience, and they're proving to not be complete pushovers in this matchup, which was probably in line with our expectations, and understandably the expectation of the Chiefs as well. Double nitro for the defense in this round. See how they're able to pocket that utility for the layer in combination with the Goyo, which should offer quite a bit of stall. They discount the slow of the Malusi as well. PSG, again, they do have that sense in play as mentioned previously. I do wonder if that's a tool that's going to be employed for the hatch shop. There could be some other set play that they have in mind. We'll have to wait and see. They're being sent out down long currently to try and support this drop. So we'll see if Machine can commit.
And my concern now, though, is that time running out. It's still a 5v5. Good positions held by Chiefs. Default positions. ACOG will make the drop over towards Moto. Flash to go in. Nitrocell just keeps ACOG at bay. I mean, I don't mind this right now from Chiefs. The time continues to dwindle down for TSG. Flames keeping ACOG at a distance. Jigsaw got the opening pick, but traded thusly. Sorry falling. And there's a 3v3 until Oda and Brenda just go bang into red time, though, and ACOG needs to stick this kit down. Turtle inside a church close by to the Moto doorway. Brendo checks left side first, now spots him in the corner. And obviously, being the fact that he's got that shield, he has to find the leg on the left side, and he does do so. Didn't panic. And in the end, Chiefs will find themselves a third round.
Yeah, again, from the Chiefs, good resilience on that side itself, able to lock it down, forcing Plant ultimately in a very difficult position, essentially 1 versus 2, and the coverage there tough from the location of the second attacker, as Army barricade, etc., limited line of sight, very difficult to contest both players, and of course who other than those two to clutch up. So good work from Chiefs, starting to just steady the ship a little bit. Certainly a better job from them comparatively to some of their other rounds, and so that will bode well for the remainder of this initial half. TSG now need to start dipping into their bag of ideas. We'll see how large that may be, and how many strategies they can employ to try and recover in this particular matchup, because Chiefs now have, I think, a rather good read as to what their game plan is, and are now starting to do quite a good job of shutting it down.
Jammer ready to activate. Deploying razor wire. All is reinforced.
Well, so far it's been a smooth return for Brando, 4-1. And Oda, I don't know if it's a case of just having some old friends back, but he, well, looks like he's back to his best. I think it was Jack Scurry put out a tier list a couple of weeks ago, a week or so ago. And I think he had Oda in the C tier or the D tier or something ridiculous. Oda looking very sharp to begin. Although Chiefs will be very much hoping they can get to 5 defensive rounds to give themselves some breathing room going into the second half. Double shield set up for TSG. Okay, the Blitz and the Blackbeard. Don't forget the Blackbeard's slightly nerfed as well since stage 1. I do wonder when we may see Denari. We saw a little bit of it in Asia last night. Brendo finds the opening pick. He too goes 5-1. There's his brother. Find one as well onto Machine, who has struggled in this matchup. 1-5 now. The newest player of this TSG roster. And able to shut down Brendo. But Sage is picking up where he left off. And ACOG all by himself, and a rather smooth round now for Chiefs. And outside of the first 2 rounds, Chiefs have been the better team easily. It seems as if TSG have really cooled off, or Chiefs have certainly started to heat up. Nice shot from ACOG. Jigsaw couldn't win the peak battle. 1v2. And certainly winnable here for ACOG, but Oda goes aggressive and he loses his life and now makes it a 1v1 against Sage. The old head has to be calm under pressure with the shield at his face. ACOG to try and find his second round, and he indeed will. He gets the 2v1, he gets the teabag, and a second round acquired for true Synergy Gaming.
I mean, that's another good display of the value that Blackbeard still brings inside of the server, despite the nerfs and menace, both in 1vx situations and even just straight 1v1s, as we saw there towards the very end. There wasn't a lot Sage could do. Tried to close the distance so that the shotgun would be more impactful, but fell into the trap of getting caught by the melee, and there was nothing that he was able to do at that point in time. So the Blackbeard comes up clutch again for TSG, clinging on here nicely to round the pass mark for attack on club.
Yeah, advantage for Sage. It's always not a position that you want to be in. 1v1 against the full health Blackbeard. Needed Oda to just be a little bit more calm. And 2-3, again, it's a rightful scoreline. I mean, this is not a case of TSG kind of pulling a couple of rounds out from their backside. I mean, this is honestly deserved. They probably should have won the opening round. 5-on-3 advantage to begin on the attacker club. Set them up nicely, but just couldn't quite capitalize. And they find a third round. That will just send a little bit of panic into the Chiefs' camp. If this goes 3-3 at the half, it sets TSG up very nicely, and they know full well they're in this game. And meanwhile, they've also got two players that are 1-5. I mean, it's a support player and a hard breach and Siren Machine, but unable to really land these shots. But Ned, Loyal, ACOG especially, have all been playing very well. So it's kind of the same situation for TSG from stage 1, where it's Ned and ACOG that are really leading the way. But they do, if they're going to be a better team than stage 1, they do need more out of their other players.
Yeah, it's definitely the case for the Moon and O's that you need 5 well-rounded players, and you can't really get away with too many lagging behind, if anyone, at the moment. Which is the sign of a decently competitive region at the moment. So the Nook can play again here from TSG, and they'll be looking to extract value from that, maybe a little bit more so than they've been able to achieve so far. That can lurk below while the rest of the team looks to progress across. Chiefs went searching at the opening phase of the round, but will peel back. Jigsaw's already played that tuck position inside of Cash, so they can't use that as too much of a crutch, as it will be more than likely cleared this time around.
Going negative as well. He's the only one on Chiefs going negative.
Yeah,
it's not often you see that from Jigsaw.
I would love to know how many games it went negative in stage 1. It wouldn't have been too many.
Considering he absolutely smashed the numbers, yeah, I don't think from a game-by-game basis it would have been too many. He was a plus 65 KD by the end of stage 1, plus 26 on entry. Not quite reaching any of those stats in this match. 60 seconds left, final round of the half. ACOG on this Blackbeard has been an absolute nuisance for Chiefs. A slow burn of an attack, though. Still need to clear out rafters if they want to. Otherwise, it might just be a case of forego it and ignore it.
Jigsaw now clearing below as well, so that will feed information back to the rest of his team that the lurk threat isn't an immediate danger. Nook, though, still in Arsenal. 20 seconds. TSG need to make their move and do so.
They make the rush. ACOG trying to get his way over towards top red. Cut off though by Sage, who found a second as well. Did his job from rafters beautifully. Did Sage. Saro by himself at 1v3. Not a lot of time remaining in this round. Sneaks back in towards CCTV, and then it's a trade in the end with Brendo. And it does not matter. Chiefs will prevail. They go 4-2 up in the half. It's job done. It's par for the course. As typically is the case with Clubhouse in this region, 4 defensive rounds is not good enough As long as you can find at least 2 attacks, that's OT secured, and then well, it's a whole new game. I think Chiefs will actually be a little bit disappointed, though, ultimately, with that half, the way that they played. A lot of those rounds quite scrappy. TSG, at times, looking dominant. So they've got some work to do. And for TSG, it sets them up nicely. You get your 2 attacking rounds. You're right in this game. You go defense now. And the bands Ace, Kaid, Thermite, and Clash.
Does leave the Bandit on the board, at least so far, for the second half, and TSG may use that to juggle / trick the main breaches, particularly top floor where it's most prominent. I do wonder what kind of playbook Chiefs will intend to employ on this particular map on attack, whether it's going to be set play specific, whether they'll look to up the tempo early and get a lot of map control and then constrict. Certainly wait and see. That's going to be a big talking point, I think, for them throughout the second stage, is what style of siege do they want to play, what kind of conditions do they want to play around. Is it going to be the case of heavy emphasis on the likes of Jigsaw and Brendo? Do they look to spread that load a little bit more? I think we're probably seeing a little bit of the latter so far. Just the nature of their roles at the moment here on a more predetermined map like Club. I think that tends to be how it plays out more often than not. On the side of TSG, though, an opportunity here to look competitive on the opening player day. We'll see how strong they are on defense. It is important to note that their 2 attacking wins did come off the back of big clutches from the Blackbeard, where Chiefs struggled to trade him out. We'll see if they can find some fortune here on defense. Scopos in play opening round, and Machine to kick things off Garro's side. Just the 1 kill for him so far, trying to find his footing. Probably one of the more challenging opponents that he could have come up against to kick off stage 2. Yeah. Find an opportunity in this round to just stall out a bit of time and just ensure that he doesn't give away his life for free.
I mean, that's the biggest thing, though. You're playing Scopos. It doesn't matter if you're 1 and 6 or 6 and 1. It's not particularly easy to understand at times when to transfer. How aggressive do you want to be? That's probably a team directive. He does actually transfer back, by the way, already now in church. Leaves his shell over towards Rafters. Oda with the opening pick on to Loyal. Ned actually still top main stairs, so he's not with the rest of his team right now, and he certainly needs to make his way back down because Oda's planning inside of Arsenal. They've just walked their way through. And in the end, it's an absolute no contest. A bloodbath here from the attack of Chiefs. Ned didn't even make his way back down bot main. It's a kitchen drop into the fire. And Chiefs, with a little statement attacking round as to what they can do on the attack of Club. And go 5-2 up.
Yeah, Chiefs walking all over TSG in that round. TSG forfeiting blue control, roam unimpactful. Jigsaw out on site to seal the deal. And overall, a bit of a statement piece there in the opening round from Chiefs that they're not here to mess around. They're not here to try anything all too fancy. If they find a pocket of space, they are going to take it. And so TSG need to be incredibly mindful of that, where against maybe teams on a lower level or similar level of experiences themselves, they might be able to get away with those pockets of space and then regress elsewhere on the map. And it's not as much of an immediate concern, but a team like Chiefs would have noticed that quite quickly and were able to exploit it quite easily. And so a positive opening round for them on attack. We transition over towards Gym Bedroom for the follow-up. And the Maverick actually to be brought here by Chiefs in the absence of the Ace and Thermo.
Well done.
Home improvement time.
The reality is, though, for a team like TSG, you can certainly take a lot of positives from a match like this, but it's positives that aren't going to pick up points. Been competitive, had good moments, had good rounds, and maybe a 2-5 scoreline doesn't totally reflect this match in its entirety, but it's the reality. On an individual level, though, Brendo has been sensational on his return, and I just wonder if a little bit of that, it's speculative, not fully knowledgeable, but like in terms of his role on this roster in comparison to GG, we know that Brendo and Wettables had role issues on Gaming Gladiators. Maybe Brendo can play a little bit more free here on Chiefs. And Oda himself is, well, back to his very best. Sage, Goes for the peek into CCTV. Unfortunate to be alive. They've got themselves Rafters control and can continue to make the push across. Still need to clear out top red and cash.
Yeah, TSG respond now with the peel. Pretty understandable from their position with the Blackbeard bearing down, although they double stack Con. A little bit peculiar here. Loyal from Ned. Side by side in that construction position at the midpoint of the round. Likely aided by Azami utility to try and hold the line a little bit further, a little bit deeper. Not sensing the need to completely retreat to site just yet. And it does stall our Chiefs a little bit. Over falls, but Brendo trades.
Oh, shot from Ned onto Brendo. Don't forget, Sage is quite low. A winnable round now for TSG. And they can look to consolidate, get back to site. Only 60 seconds left for Chiefs to formulate a new plan of attack. 4 flashes available in terms of utility, but that's really all about it. Along with the Skeleton Key of Quiz, it doesn't leave them much wiggle room in terms of their eventual hit into the site. Still on Nitro available for Saro, 3 Gas Babes, and well, there goes Ned. Jigsaw finds the pick from 3-5 to 6-5. Along with the 5 assists as well for Jigsaw. Quiz just getting smoked out and stalled out towards logistics, along with Sage, who has to be very careful with his positioning in particular. He'll flash dump and fall back over towards Con. No flashes left for Sage, but 2 available for Quiz. Full whack for Machine. Can he find his second kill? He's got a bit of help though from Syro. Well, no second kill, but for good reason. The cover is strong. And it leaves Jigsaw all by himself, and as good as this player is, and he is, he ain't winning that one from there, and TSG will get their 3rd round.
Yeah, I really like the peel there from TSG. That mid-round aggression that they displayed over towards Con caught Chiefs out. It was a successful trade game, and then they set themselves the platform to be able to consolidate in the round. Interestingly enough, after winning that prior round, they will call their attack timeout, sensing they have a real shot in this particular matchup. Could also just be a P break. That's often the case in Sleek. I'm not too sure without cams on, but it's been a good spread from them so far. They could try to rally around Machine here, get him involved. They have a very serious shot at pushing Chiefs a little bit more in this matchup. Who they themselves looking actually pretty well settled in terms of the roles that they're employing. They're finding success across all 5 members. So look back at that prior round. That pick there, massive from Ned. And then was able to escape at least for a little while longer. Put the burden on the remaining 3 players of Chiefs to try and make a play, especially through Logi, but that proved to be a little too tall of a task to mount.
Attackers need to locate and
So after that tactical timeout called by TSG, let's catch the CCTV on the agenda for round 9.
And just keeping themselves in this match, not letting it become a foregone conclusion. Going to be easily at 5-2, you know, with the way that Chiefs came out of the gates in the second half. You know, flawless attacking round. You know, you kind of mentally waved the white flag a little bit, but they stood tall. Only a 2-round deficit. You're on defense club. The big hitters continue to fire in Ned and ACOG. Concern though, Jigsaw has also started to wake up a little bit towards the back end of this game. TSG have just kind of been able to grind out a lot of these rounds. If you look at the actual KD numbers, you probably get the sense that Chiefs have been the better team overall, and, well, the scoreline reflects that. TSG have been scrappy and been able to find some picks here and there. None of these rounds have been easy for Chiefs, except for one, which was really the first round of this second half. That was the only round that was quote-unquote easy for Chiefs. They had to really work for all of the rest. Well, Ned taking the little peek battle with Brendo. And probably back Brendo in that particular battle, but Ned playing the Jaeger, who's already set the ADSs towards Rafters. Doesn't really have too much to lose outside of his own life. And Jigsaw has been able to slip through basement and can come up main. And if Ned's not careful here, he could lose his life inside a bar. Good ping information. Jigsaw's just going to send it. Ned too busy worrying about these drones and not ready for that push coming from main. Now he is, though, and now he's clued on. Jigsaw aware of the fact that his position is known towards main stairs. Quiz inside a stock. And a lot of time being spent into clearing out Ned. Oda's taken a bit of damage, and in the end, Quiz does find the kill that they were searching for.
And in the meantime, you could sense the nervousness from Jigsaw that there was potentially a drop Moto or a lurk elsewhere to try and enclose on his position, but not the case from TSG. It's just one player on the first floor currently, that's Loyalith. Has lounge set up with castle barricades and can play for vert denial and also deny entry in towards garage or now through stock. Blue as well, a potential hotspot. Jigsaw to contest that with a shoulder peek. Info confirmed with that drone. Chiefs will likely try and play around this positional advantage, maybe give Jigsaw an opportunity to push the staircase. But TSG now very much have their backs against the wall. It's a very difficult position that they find themselves in. Quiz as well can rotate, skeleton key to vert out cash. So there's a lot going right here for Chiefs.
This would be a very good round for Machine to find a second, maybe even a third kill. It's still got a Nitro available, and so does Syro. 40 seconds, though. Okay, yeah, a lot going right for Chiefs, but the time starts to dwindle. Slowly but surely. 3 players injured. Oda significantly so. Push coming in through Con. Close angle. Machine takes contact, then falls back over towards the backside of Cash. Got to be careful with your positioning, and it caught in the backside as well. Machine just looked absolutely lost inside of Cash. Didn't know where to position, didn't know where the pressure was coming from entirely. And in the end, it's flawless from Chiefs. Well worked round for them and sets them up now with match point.
Yeah, really textbook siege on display there from Chiefs. They isolate the Roma bar, they prevent the re-aggression from anybody else. Lounge was then dismantled with the castle barricades dealt with. The rest of the team doing defaults in terms of working kennels, etc. Just really well executed across the board, failed to make major mistakes. And TSG just not quite on the same level of playmaking to maybe catch a Jigsaw in the early round, or maybe find a little bit more value from that roam down below in Lounge, for instance. Just outclassed in that particular instance, and whilst they have shown some positive signs, Chiefs arguably on a greater level at the moment, as we have come to expect. Round number 10 though, and Denari to be employed for the first time here in OCE. We'll see if TSG can cook something up with those tripwires.
So Denari time. What do we get out of this? Did you? I don't know if you saw the clip last night actually with the tripwire kill on main stairs. Did you happen to see that one?
Down main, yeah.
Yeah. That's a bit
the
interesting.
Mobile capcan. The mobile capcan.
Yeah. I also saw
That's the
one of the
exact same one.
Yeah. Probably going to end up being rather common to put them on, stair positions. But yeah, I've seen some intriguing, strategies where you can kind of, I saw the one on Chalet in terms of the trick outside main breach. But I think players will figure out ways to not show the tripwire until they activate it themselves. Of course, you can kind of set it up where it's, pre-placed and already active. And then there's others that you can essentially link it and then it becomes active. I went live though, the operator icon does look a little out of place, and Syra's out of place as well. Oda catching him through that gym window. I'm not too sure what the icon is. Is it supposed to be a cube?
I believe so, yeah. Or dice. You're testing my knowledge at the moment. I am intrigued though to see that, yeah, that skill ceiling on the gadget itself is one of the highest I think we've probably had in a while. I even saw instances where the Denari sets it outside and then you can catch like a thermite, and it's like, for instance, where you throw it, sorry, an outside shallow breach, you throw it through the drone hole and it connects with others you pre-place in the prep phase, and you can kill the thermite as he backs away from the wall. Just like little tricks like that I think we'll see more of them creep in at the top level. Hopefully over time. Ned currently over towards Meat Locker though. Chiefs seemingly unaware, so he should be good for a couple. Oh, maybe not. Bad timing. Good drone. Gets the kill though. And able to fall away. Drops kit. Ned probably a little bit fortunate to get away with that little play of his. But it is a 4 versus 4 now in TSG with a real shot of extending this match.
Well, fortune favours the bold. Oh, I mean, that's just too free for Brendo. He can't just be slow peeking into his line of sight, and dare I say, this now looks ugly for TSG. 3 gas babes available for ACOG, but he just looks absolutely worried as to where they can come in. There's that second kill for Machine. Talk about a time to find it in a do-or-die match point round. ACOG has tucked in nicely. They might not be ready for this position at all, and indeed, Sage was not. But there's too much time still left in this round, and ACOG is low, and they know exactly where he is. Flush him out with the frag grenade. Oh, up close shotgun though, and Quiz now leaves Brendo in the 1v1.
One more grenade.
One more frag grenade thrown into this position, and it will kill him. ACOG knew full well he was dead to rights. Well, a little bit spicy. 7-3 scoreline. You had to earn it, but Chiefs do earn it in the end. You think back to stage 1, these are kind of games that might have even been 7-5 and even scrappier, but Brendo was switched on from start to finish, 13-4. Jigsaw, a quiet one for him. Oda performed really, really well individually, and I think as a team, I don't think Chiefs were necessarily bad. I think TSG played quite well in this matchup. I think they'll even be disappointed that it was only 7-3, maybe even deserved a 7-4, 7-5 kind of scoreline. But in the end, Chiefs far too good. A couple of good clutch moments from TSG, but in the end, wasn't able to net them the win. Chiefs with their first win of the stage.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's about to kick some serious ass? Remember, I'll be watching. Now you see me, now you don't.
Get ready! I'm taking them out!
Changing mags. I got this. Got my eyes on you. Located enemy.
You know how they say, it's not the destination, it's the journey?
And the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And you know what?
They're right.
Oh, too salty.
Hey, what's going on everybody for APL Stage 2? I'm Dev Marta and you're watching Short Ones, the show with hot wings and even hotter questions. Today I'm joined by Enterprise Esports coach and Korean gangster Min Goran.
Hello, chaps.
Okay, Mingo, so you can talk smack on Twitter, you can win plenty of games, you can coach your team to victory, but how are you going to go against the fiery wings of death?
I don't know, Australian has spicy food. Sometimes Australian hot food is really shit for me. So
Do you eat a lot of spicy food in Korea?
yeah, every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got 3 different spice levels, from mild on your left, all the way up to very spicy. I've got the same wings as you, but the difference is I'm not Korean. I feel like this is a little bit stacked against me here, but Mingo, we're gonna give it a go anyway. Mingo, when you're ready, please dive into your very first wing. So one of your favorite sayings on Twitter is positive mind, make good result. Can you explain more about what this actually means?
I was a baseball player before the esports career. Every time I think about positive thing, because at that time I was team captain, so I have to lead my boys. So I have to get a positive mind. But after SI, I talk about we have to get a positive mind, and then we just playing video game, and everyone get a no pressure, and then everyone just enjoy game, and then we beat OOBS and SI 25. Oh no, it's 25, 24. So at that time, my mindset was, yeah, just get a positive mind, and then I just believe that result. So yeah.
What do you think of the wings?
Tasty is shit. It's not good.
I think you need to eat some more. You see the spicy bit? Get as much as you can of that. Come on, you're Korean, this should be easy for you. So, you talk a lot on Twitter. You talk a lot of smack as well. You're adding players. You're saying that you guys are the best. Why is it that you love Twitter so much?
In my opinion, Twitter posting is one of part of marketing stuff. So every player have to posting something for after game or before the game. But my boys too shy, never posting about game, never posting about just IRL. Just I have to do that shit for organization side and then Rainbow Six Esports scenes. So yeah, just talking shit and then everyone get a laugh.
How does it feel having to carry the team on Twitter? Because no one knows how to talk or market themselves.
Sometimes it's boring, but yeah, that is my job, I guess.
Amazing.
As I was saying, we have to look at what's ahead of us now and not worry too much about
Wait,
the
did you
past.
see that?
What?
Wait, what is this doing here?
Whoa! What the hell is going on?
Guys, we need to go.
Jess, what are you doing here?
We need to go now.
Jess, Doc is gone. We have to go back.
There's no time. There's really no time.
Can't take this anymore. I'm tired.
He's our head coach. I have to go save him.
You're already dead.
There's no escaping now.
Well, it's been a good night so far here for APL Oceania, and we're already halfway through off that one game because we've only got 2 to go. Dream Warriors coming up next to see if they can make amends for Stage 1, taking on Outlast, which, you know, for all intents and purposes, I think this could be a very intriguing game because we're going into it, you know, fresh slate now for Dream Warriors, formerly Saga Esports, for those unfamiliar. And the damning statistic, guys, is that they were the worst rated team across all of Tier 1 Siege in every region.
You stole my little fun fact. That was going to be the point that I was going to bring up. But yeah, it was clear that these guys had quite a way to go to make it at a Tier 1 level. The positives takeaway for them, at least for this year, is with a bit more of an expanded format. They have the opportunity to sort of grow into the year, and the hope will be that towards the tail end of stage number 2, they can show some level of competitiveness. I still find it very difficult to rule them out entirely from making playoffs for this particular stage, but a lot of it, oddly enough, does probably rest on this particular result. There is a world, I wouldn't say it's a strong possibility, but it's a fair possibility that Dream Warriors or Outlast will have a head-to-head as to who makes it through to playoffs pending other results. It's obviously factoring in how they actually do measure up against the rest of the competition, but there's a possibility that they could be quite close in the standings. So an important game here for Dream Warriors to get off to a good start and show some of the work that they've been putting in over the off-season.
It is also a pretty much new roster as well. I mean, you kind of Freelo and Wizard, the only 2 that have remained from that Saga Esports in stage 1. They get Reelers in, who's a really solid player. Razor, I feel like I'm familiar with him and probably seen him around, but certainly not, you know, the kind of pickup that you're looking and saying, okay, this is going to challenge the league, but maybe a good, you know, breeding ground where you've got some younger players, you know, with Wizard, for instance. And Kaken as well is, well, a player that's been around for a long time and has, you know, you think back to the early days and he was really, really solid at Tier 1 and then he's kind of dropped off and he's been bouncing around. Good to see him back. We've got Outlast Gaming, though, as well. Of course, their opponents who, well, I felt like stage 1, they had some really solid performances. You know, Palarazi was really the talking point back in stage 1, where he kind of rebranded to just Pala, and he looked like a transformed man in terms of his performances. But, you know, the old crew, Jake Anna, Goof, Trippin, Quixie, rambunctious group, if you will, but certainly talented and certainly capable and should be favorites in a matchup like this. And I think the goal for this team in particular is to be a spoiler team. I mean, from their end, it's probably to, you know, make the major, and that's the grand dream and all of that. But you're looking to your Enterprises, your Chiefs, and your Ludovicas. And if I'm Outlast, I'm thinking, can we upset those teams? You upset them enough, and suddenly you become a team on that level. You know, Goofed is a player that has so much quality in terms of his kills. He's almost like a mini Jigsaw. Jay Ken has got that experience. If Palarazi can, you know, continue that form from stage 1, it's a really solid roster.
Yeah, it's an interesting amalgamation of players, but every world in which they could be challenging for a pretty strong top 4 finish for this particular stage. Again, it's based a lot on how they actually bind together, because a tale as old as time at OCE is you can have strong individual players. If they don't bind well together as a 5 core, then you're in a bit of strife. So I'm eager to see how they go today. They have a pretty favorable fixturing in terms of being able to most likely ease into this particular stage, but given the changes for Dream Warriors, they could also look quite fresh heading into the second
it's the same
half
as
of the
well for
year
Outlast as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're both pretty reformed in that particular sense, so it's kind of hard to extract how they're actually going to go. But
Outlast is basically just a combination of Outlast from stage 1 and Circular Spheres as well. So it's kind of like, coming together, which there's multiple ways to kind of look at that. I don't think it's a case of like the number 1 and the number 2 team merging and becoming a super team. It can go one of two ways. Either it becomes a really competitive roster and can get to the level of something like a Ludovica, for instance, or it just doesn't work and it doesn't really mix well together. So I'm very curious to see how this iteration of Outlast Gaming is going to look. But yeah, again, like coming over from Circular Spheres, apparently Neptune did get picked up. I don't know if he's just not playing tonight. I'm not too sure, but he too got picked up for this iteration of Outlast Gaming. But yeah, as I said, it's basically just like Outlast X Circular Spheres. And of course, for Dream Warriors, making some pretty big changes themselves as well. So they're the rejigged teams as we go to Nighthaven Labs for this game. Dream Warriors will begin on defense, which is a really good kind of testing ground for them to begin defense labs. You think about top floor and then having to play the basement roam and things like that. So they can be the ones to kind of try and set the tone a little bit early, and if they can get some rounds on the board. Again, we are talking about a couple of players from that Saga Esports roster from stage 1 where things did not work. They got 10 rounds through 7 best of ones last stage. So if they were to win this game tonight, and presumably get 7 if they win in regulation, that is already like 70% of the rounds in one game. So that's kind of what they could potentially do in this match.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to paint too bleak of a picture, but Labs had a moderate level of play back in stage 1, and if you look at the attack-defense split, it was actually by far and away the most heavily attacker-sided map at 57%. So Dream Warriors will unlikely to find comfort, depending on how the bands shape out, on defense, which is a little bit in contrast to a typical BO1 veto. So we'll see how they go. Given how reformed they are and how many players have actually changed out and in, it's probably to an extent quite unfair to compare them even to stage 1, but it's really the only basis that we have to go on at the moment. And so we'll be looking at this first opening match for them in the stage as a comparative point to that. How much of an upgrade / downgrade may it be? How much potential does the roster have going forward? Are they anywhere near the realm of discussion for maybe like a top 4 finish? Because I think on the flip side, for Outlast, that's definitely, in my mind, heading into this matchup, given the consolidation of 2 mid-tier teams, is can that push them up into the realm of the top 4, potentially even dance with the top 3 as well? We'll certainly have to wait and see. Labs, though, an interesting battleground, as mentioned. Mild level of playability back in stage 1. Certainly nowhere near as popular as the likes of Clubhouse. I'm having a look back now. In stage 1, Club had 16 players. Labs is more in the mid-pack with a lot of the other maps at 5 players. So you might see a little bit more of it at this stage.
It's very interesting, and I'm not looking to kind of just debunk, because you're absolutely spot on. It was 57% attacker win rate back in the last stage for Oceania. Played only the 4 times. I say only. It's not as if it was the least played map, bottom 3. The only maps that were played less were Lair and Skyscraper. And if you kind of look at some of the numbers, they're actually quite intriguing, because command server, top floor, actually still was defender-sided, despite the entire map being played out at 57% attacker rate. Of course, top floor was still defender-sided. The intriguing thing for me was actually tank and assembly, 57% attacker win rate, with a 35% plant percentage. And storage and control was won at a whopping 78% through the 9 rounds that particular site saw. Now, to give a bit of context, you look at Asia, so sub-region in APL, well, the map itself was a 55% defensive win rate, and every single site was defensive favored, and tank assembly had a 16% plant percentage. It was only control storage that saw attack see a little bit more leeway. 47% attacker win rate, 47% plant. So some strange kind of numbers there. I still think it's like the case if you kind of look at these statistics at a face value and you go, oh wow, okay, well this must be the case. It's like, well, what were the matchups? Was it an Enterprise just beating on a Saga, for instance, and they just 7-0'd them, and 6 of those rounds were on attack? Like, it's a little bit tricky to kind of look at the actual raw statistics. I think when you kind of look at Clubhouse, for instance, last stage it got played 13 times, 53% defensive win rate. You can kind of take that to the bank because there's enough of a subsample there to suggest that those numbers are accurate. So I'm not too sure, how much of a factor what the 4 games were played on this site were last stage, but I still wholeheartedly will say I think defense is probably where you want to be here for Dream Warriors, especially top floor, being able to, take that site comfortably and set yourself up then for what's going to be an important tank and assembly to follow. I do apologize, we've got a bit of a delay here getting into this game. It seems as if we've finally been able to fix the issue in the background, and we can get our second match of the night here for APL Oceania on the road as we head to Nighthaven Labs.
Yes, apparently issues with Moss, which tends to be the case in an opening play day. So with that resolved, we should be joining the server in just a moment's time. Eager to jump in, see how both of these two teams shape up. And with the benchmark already set by Chiefs, we can kind of gather as to what level they may be at for the remainder of the stage, whether it's an upwards or potentially downwards trajectory. I would assume that for both of these two teams, it's an opportunity to just get a feel inside of an official, given the composition of the two rosters as well. There's certainly be some unknowns as to how they're actually going to perform, and scrim performances and the data that they've been able to obtain there will be pretty limited at this point in time. It's probably worthy noting that the turnaround between stage 1 and 2, especially to some of the, in comparison to some of the formats we've had in the last few years, is pretty compact. And so if you're not EP and didn't head to EWC and have the practice there, then you've been starved of high quality scrims more than likely over the last couple of months, and being such a short period of time, haven't had much of an opportunity to adjust. So yeah, we'll see that coming to fruition here for this particular matchup.
Yeah, it's been
is there a team that you're favouring? Yeah, it hasn't. I don't think it's even been 2, right?
Yeah, no, it's been like it's basically been
6 weeks,
like a month and a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quick. I'd probably say Outlast. I think they've got the better looking roster. Circular Spheres, Outlast combining, and both of those two teams were competitive last stage. Yeah, Outlast was kind of unlucky a little bit. They were the competitive 7th team that didn't make playoffs, but basically kind of came down to like one game here or there, and then they would have made it. Circular Spheres had a pretty good run, good group stage. So I think you take the best of both worlds, put them together. Dream Warriors, being at the very least not the full-blown Saga from last stage, does give some hope for them that they're going to be able to get some more rounds on the board, pick up some points. I mean, the fact that Saga Esports roster didn't pick up a single point last stage is quite dismal, regardless of the quality in the region or not. But it's good to see Kaken back. Keen to see what a Razor can do, and also keen to see Wizard, who, playing on a relatively poor roster, was able to put together a pretty decent stage. Freely is a top player as well, so excited for this one. Second game of the night. Again, a reminder, due to the fact that we only have the 7 teams in Oceania, we only play the 3 best of 1s per OCE playdate. Ludovica have the bye tonight, and the follow-up game to come after this will be Enterprise versus Man LFO.
So the band's played out then. It will be fully centered around Hard Breach. Tends to at times follow a similar trend to Club, where teams have a heavy emphasis on denying exterior walls like IT Con, and then the double wall config basement as well. And so that does leave other operators for site shaping still up. You think about Mirror and Azami, both were prominent on the top floor. And then on the side of the attack, we're going to see the team. It's likely lean into Mav Habana specifically. They'll be critical in opening up exterior. But does leave up some of the more executive utilities, such as Ian Capital up. Deimos as well for the opening round. Top floor has a lot of soft floor and potential to dislodge from games is quite strong.
Barricade up.
Gooft is going to be one to watch throughout this match, and his ability to be aggressive on the attack, playing the Deimos. Had a very, very good stage 1.
Changing mags.
Activating drone.
Actually, I thought it was a bit better than it was. In the end, he was only 14th, 99 EPS. 22nd on review. Felt like he played a bit better. I mean, he went +3 on the entries, and I think maybe for Gooft, it's a case of he can have those really big pop-off nights where, you know, he can drop 20, and then he can kind of have a night where he drops 3 or 4. I think it's all about maybe finding the consistency for a player of his caliber. Also, Palarazi, guys, I don't know if you've noticed, is just Pal, so he continues the tradition of just shortening the name. He's going to come back. Stage 1 next year is just Pa. And then P in stage 2.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's as short as he can get it now. I'm pretty sure 3 is the max. So.
Just put some dots in or something.
10 APS for in this stage, though. IT well dealt with. The zombie barriers scattered around, as highlighted on the top floor, will be very prominent. Clearly a big emphasis from Cake, investing in himself over towards garage rafters and looking to hold down that position, prevent entry from the exterior. Maybe looking to soak up some of his utility as well from Outlast. Kaken falls though to the hands of Gooft. Good death mark from below, and the mute jammer seemingly not in position for Kaken, who I think was trying to reinforce that wall. Clearly unsuccessful. And Outlast now with the advantage.
Yeah, not the way that Kaken would have wanted to have his return to Tier 1 Siege. B in the opening death as the Azami playing a key position. Really opens up this site now for Outlast, but only 35 seconds left in the round. Need to pick up this pace. One flash available for Jake Kenner. Going to play a long angle. Now he's got Trippin in front of him, who just lost his life, but a good trade by Jake. So far, 1 for 1. This is not going to be too bad for Dream Warriors, though, with the time dwindling down. They lose Wizard. Not really any utility left for any of these 4 players. Going to come down to the gunplay, and a Razor hits his shot. Talk about a really, really solid kill just then to give Dream Warriors a chance to take this opening round, and indeed they will. Drop shot, prone, up close with a shotgun. And they're on the board to start stage 2. It might not be Saga Esports, it's now the Dream Warriors. But that's 1 out of 10 rounds already acquired.
Yeah, Outlast will be feeling a little bit hard done by there on a rather attacker-sided map to kick things off with the opening pick. Good death mark from below on Deimos. They're struggling to convert, a wall of utilities still standing in their way for the final push.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Just the tempo of the trades wasn't quite up to par. So look back at that highlight package, 4v4, 25 seconds. Even Jake Kenner hitting a clean shot near the 2 versus 2 right here. A Razor was able to fortify his position. Nobody outside IT Breach, who was spearheaded from the opposing side of the map. Did a good job at playing for his life, but also information, and in the meantime finds 2 favorable gunfights. So, good work from him, and a clean opening round for Dream Warriors.
Changing mags.
And the beauty of a matchup like this, I guess, considering both teams making enough of roster changes that they're essentially just 2 new teams altogether. You have remnants of previous ones back in stage 1. It's a blank slate. Clean canvas for them to build on and see what they could do here in stage 2 without, you know, the past misforgivings of stage 1 to worry about. 2 kills for Gooft early on. He's the kind of player that if he's hot early, will really help out. Freelo, well, the early blitz in your face. He's done well to kind of manage this, all things considered. And a Kaken double nitrocell kill saves the day for Freelo. And this early attack for Outlast already in the bin. King, who I imagine is Quixie, cannot find the kill either onto Freelo. The fact that this man is still alive is insane to me.
Oh, it's still alive. Surely Freelo can survive his way, and Goofed finds the kill. But the damage already done. Great stall from Freelo. Good comms to Kaken and Nitro down below from first floor. And that's round over. Outlast tried to pick up the tempo, but stalled out nicely.
A bomb has been located.
Dream Warriors will be disciplined. They rotate back towards site. 3 basement, Kaken on the stairs as they look to wrap up this round.
And confirmation indeed, King is Quixie and will be referred to as just King now. If he wants to be the King, we'll see if he can play like one. And for Outlast now 2v4. The round is never over though, with Goofs still in the server. So far, so good for Dream Warriors. As I mentioned in the discussion coming into this game, though, guys, I did get the feeling that Haven Labs' defense is a good place for them to begin. They win top floor, on the verge of winning basement, and Eraser is hot early on. And Jake Ken is going to call a rehost, and they're going to be 2-0 down going into the said rehost. Control storage on the other side of it's going to be oh so fascinating. If Dream Warriors win that, they will be on a dream run. And no Palarazi magic as Dream Warriors take the opening 2 rounds against the new look Outlast. As we'll be heading into the rehost very shortly.
Yeah, it was really clean work there on the defensive side to open up that account. Outlast tried to pick up the pacing as mentioned. Unfortunately, then stalled, opened that pretty small window of opportunity to hit the Nitro, but Kaken, whether it was intuition or got a good call, perhaps a little bit of a combination of both, was in prime position, able to lodge that Nitro, thanks to the great stall up above, netted 2 picks, and then it compounded from there. And so, yeah, positive signs. I mean, this first match has already gone arguably better than the entire last stage for Dream Warriors. That's how much of a improvement it has been, already significant in the early stages of this second stage. But I like what I'm seeing inside of the server at the moment. They're playing a pretty standard brand of Siege for OCE, but execution wise it's been quite good.
Alrighty, well, due to the rehost and said tech pause, we'll be heading to a short break. When we come back, control storage on the other side.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's about to kick some serious ass? Remember, I'll be watching. Now you see me, now you don't.
Get ready! I'm taking them out!
Changing mags. I got these. Got my eyes on you. Located enemy.
It's another 1v1, the close end for the ball. Win saves and what is going on?
So, control storage is where we pick back up for this match between Outlast and Dream Warriors. And so far, Dream Warriors have looked the goods here defensively on Nighthaven Labs, taking the opening 2 rounds. Hasn't been too much of a contest either. They've been quite successful. Alright, who's got the toaster?
Did someone actually pick Clash? I wasn't looking at. I was looking at the round history off to the side. May have been a joke. Apparently, there is an own issue with Clash currently.
Defused by attackers.
Ah, wonderful. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that break, because you're about to get another one, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone's
It's going to be the
computer just
longest
exploded.
The longest 3-game night ever.
All right, do the
well,
phone?
Yeah, back to the break we go. Enjoy.
It's not the destination, it's the journey.
And the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And you know what?
They're right.
Oh, too salty.
Hey, what's going on everybody for APL Stage 2? I'm Devmata and you're watching Short Ones, the show with...
All right, hopefully this time around we can get this third site going.
Gee, don't sound too enthusiastic.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of half expecting maybe another issue. You know how these things work, guys? They usually come in threes.
Really? How'd you land on 3?
I don't know. I'm making shit up. All right, let's get back underway. Third round cooking for our second match of the night for APL OCE. Dream Warriors. Can they continue the good times? This is going to be the big test. Control storage. Tertiary site when it comes to Nighthaven Labs for defense. So far, Erasers looked very lively. Has been very prominent early. One of the newer additions when it comes to, I guess, the league as a whole. I know for a fact he's been around at some point. I'm sure he's played somewhere. Obviously, never been prominent as a top-end player, so getting another opportunity. Outlast will be itching to get themselves on the board. Otherwise, they'll be staring down the barrel of a clean sweep for the first 3 rounds, and Dream Warriors then get to go back to top floor after this as well.
So, onside hit from the attack. Outlast as a structure looked okay, but execution-wise in the first couple of rounds they have been falling short. Looking to claim some territory up above and then get to work and confirm the Ram. As I said it though, Ram dies. Wasn't a trade though. Kill feed trolling me a little bit there for a moment's time as Army dealt with. But does lose some of that vert potential. Somewhat even trade in some respects, as both want to deploy their utility later on into the round, presumably so. Double Archer is still up for defense most critically, and that can be used to deny some of this vertical control from the attack.
Gagan with a 3k before the break. So he goes to 4 kills in the opening 3 rounds, but he did lose his life. King with the kill onto Real as Nitro ripped and thrown by Eraser, but will fall short. Gives Outlast the advantage, but Eraser then wins the battle against Strippin, who was hoping to catch him on the flank. So the Dockerby does go down. More firepower has now been lost for the attack. Time does start to dwindle down, ever so slowly. King trying to find something from above. Freelo lost his life to Palarazi. Chikena has got good information as well. On to Wizard. And Palarazi then catching Wizard, who almost looked like a fish being lured in to the trap set by Jake Kenner. And Eraser finds yet another kill. And a 1v2 now, what started as a 1v3. 10 seconds remaining in the round. This would be absolutely massive, but he will struggle to stop Jake Kenner from getting that plant down. Well, Jake Kenner does get off of it, though. Now needs to stick it. Eraser technically in the 1v1. But Palarazi wins his battle that he needed to. Had he lost that, Eraser could have pulled off an absolute clutch. And finally, Outlast Gaming get their first round.
Yeah, got a little bit sketchy there for a moment with the re-attempt on the plant, but the cover good enough from Pal wins the trade. There's no Nitro up for denial there, unfortunately, otherwise it would have made things very, very interesting. And with Palarazi low on HP, he was not in the greatest of positions to cover. So a little bit sketchy there from Outlast. I'll call a timeout to reset. I can only assume that this is truly a pure tactical timeout. This is not to have a break or anything like that, coming off the back of the double rehost. So looking to really reset the mind and go into the refresh of sites with a game plan here, sensing that they need to tighten up on the primary sites. May also be discussing what the additional ban may be in play here. So we'll wait and see. They follow up with the mirror, which has been prominent, and we'll see triple hard breach as expected from defense.
Yeah, so far, just going to the script, right? You know, you win top floor, okay, Dream Warriors win basement, but then give up the tertiary site.
Attackers need to locate and
Opening 3 rounds. If it was to follow this again, you get to that 4-2 half. situation, which I mean, Dream Warriors would be happy with. And due to the rehost, of course, we do lose those KDA numbers. Razor, though, on 5 kills now in the opening 3 rounds. A good start for him. Cake it on 4. Those two standing out and making a difference so far. 4 kills for Goofed. Alarazi up to 5 kills himself, so it seems like, again, shortening his name has provided him with the ammunition needed coming into a new, fresh stage to keep on firing. Attack a repick. They will drop the Blackbeard, bring the Grim, Twitch, the IQ. No Mirror, no Hibana.
Doorway secured.
I know it's early days, and we've only played the one match before this one, and now coming into this as Realist finds the opening pick onto King. Nice early peek. But I do wonder, Denari, where does he fit in? Is he going to be just niche pick based on particular sites, maps? Hasn't really seen a lot of play, only the one round.
Yeah, I mean, I theorize that it'd be a semi-popular pick. I think it may end up being a case that fills a niche for particular power positions, or if some of the more elaborate setups work in denying hard breach, etc. as some utility, it may be quite strong. But maybe not as much of a versatile, works on all sites / maps kind of pick. And maybe teams at the moment are wanting to deter or, you know, stray away from what's kind of working at the moment defensively and wanting to mitigate risk. But we'll see. I think teams that naturally explore a little bit more, we may see it from. I wonder if maybe the likes of EP will try a little bit more. I also think that early stages of a group stage where only one team gets eliminated as well is going to probably mitigate it a bit. It's probably seen a bit more playtime in scrims, etc. Teams are not wanting to reveal too much at this particular stage, which makes sense. Probably something we'll see brought out more so in playoffs if teams actually do find some interesting strategy. Because it does seem like one of the operators that's a little bit more difficult to... It's a counter on the fly. That was not bad from Mills. Lines them up.
Hey, take that one.
Yeah, this round over.
He's got 4. Well, Kaken steals the ace, but it's flawless, and it's a really solid round between Warriors. A round that never really had any life to it. Opening pick onto King, made it an early 4v5, and then Realist just goes nuts in electrical, and well, that was basically the end of the round. I mean, top floor, labs, defense, you're going to win that more often than not. Job done for Dream Warriors, and done so convincingly. Again, that's now 3 out of 10 rounds. I mean, look, it's a whole different roster. When you're bringing in 3 new players as well, it's actually less of the previous roster than it is, you know, more. That was actually just really good timing on the vault in, and got the lineup. So it's hard to actually compare, you know, Dream Warriors to Saga. Yeah, there's remnants of it with Wizard and Freeload. But this is, I guess, from the perspective of those 2 individuals, really nice to see, because you won 10 rounds throughout the entire stage, last stage, for Freelo and Wizard, and you're already 3 rounds up in your opening match.
It would be quite intriguing if Dream Warriors are able to walk away with the win. It was only postured as a more Outlast favoured matchup, and goes on to my statement during the pre-match, which is, although not super likely or like 99% likely, I think there's still a very realistic chance that this could end up being a influential matchup in terms of who actually makes it through to the top 6. So,
well, Saga last stage only picked up 3 rounds in a match once. Can you guess who that was against?
Chiefs.
That was Enterprise.
Oh really? Okay. Yeah. I thought Chiefs was pushing the envelope a little bit.
It was on Clubhouse, but they started on defense, so they got 3 defensive rounds. Every other match for Saga was either 2-1 or 0.
Okay. They're doing a good job here. Defending Nighthaven Labs was difficult back in stage 1-0, so it was tilted pretty heavily towards attack. So they're doing well so far. Hold up above. Triple Nitro. Kaken looking to likely play for life above. Some drones established to help cut off this defense. Outlast now looking to somebody to be the playmaker. Wait and see. It's a sweeping attack from kitchen across, although they will be met with some resistance. Razor defending stairs, who's had a couple of moments of influence in this match so far. Real as well in lounge off the back of his multi in the prior round. Oh, they found a gap.
Well, Jackenna, though, gets shot from both angles. Wizard able to find the pick. And the Intrepid so low. Jackenna had no idea as to how he ended up dying there, but I'm pretty certain he got shot either from above or from behind. But behind doesn't seem likely with Trippin's position. Frelo not ready for King to be there and probably wondering why he even is there, considering the positions of Jackenna and Trippin. Final logic bomb to get called out by King, picked from Palarazi. And actually going for the plant inside a tank because no one's on site right now. He does get off it. Keiki with a big pick onto Goofed, and Palarazi also getting lit up from above. So not finding a safe position to get this kit onto the floor, despite the fact that Dream Warriors have not got anyone on the site. They've still been able to mitigate this plant from going down. This is going to be a misinformation ping though. The plant will be successful. Very winnable round now for Outlast Gaming, despite the low health for Palarazi. And now, though, they lose King. And while they needed him to stay alive for a bit longer, Palarazi with it all to do in the 1v2. Post-plant, 30 seconds, and he just walks back into the firing line. Well, Reelers is having a great showing here as they try and just work out where this kit actually is. They find it. They go 4-1 up. Big final round of the half coming up.
Yeah, it certainly got pretty dodgy there towards the late round. Dream Warriors with a big commitment up above, as you highlighted. Nobody was on site. And so in that instance, there's a heavy reliance on finding valuable and accurate, rather, information on the site itself that can be acted upon by those above for plant denial. Didn't quite come through that yellow ping. Maybe it was a little bit off the mark. Maybe it was obscured by the double box. But either way, able to cover. And then isolating Palarazi critical there in the 1 versus 2. Considering how low he was, once he was located, it was a rather comfortable trade from that position, and they were able to execute on that accordingly. So, really good work on the primary sides from Dream Warriors, locking every single one out, both primaries and secondaries at that. Tertiary, though, here over towards Cargo, proving to be a little bit more challenging, losing out last time. But if they're able to maybe just hold a little bit more formidably up above, and protect some of that plant denial for below, maybe invest basement as well. And we could be potentially seeing the precursor to a 5-1, but Outlast won't go down without a fight.
As you were talking before as well about if Dream Warriors kind of end up winning this, in my mind I was thinking then, well, I know that we don't have the 8 teams this stage, and there's only going to be 1 team that will miss out from playoffs, but it does kind of then beg the question as to who that team will be. I think a lot of people coming into this stage would have just kind of penned down Dream Warriors and called it a day, but they have shown some real good promise in this match. Do you then look to the likes of Man Esports, TSG? In some ways, I really hope we can make the most of what is a bad situation, being down to only the 7 teams in this league, and that you kind of have 7 competitive teams, and, you know, those that are in 5th, 6th, and 7th by the end of this stage in the group stage are all pretty close on points, that you get down to the last play day with it still up in the air. That would at least make the most of it. Yeah, obviously for teams like Enterprise and Chiefs and Ludovica, it's going to be more of a seeding matter. They'll be too good to be in that conversation, but there's still going to be, you know, 3 or so teams at least wanting to make playoffs. Entry for Palarazi. He's a shield prowess, and prowess indeed with the pistol too. Finds the opening pick onto Eraser, who has cooled off a little bit now. Good opening kill for Outlast. Sets them up nicely in the final round of this half. 2 attacking rounds would be, for the most part, job done.
Like potential here for Goofed. Can get some control Cargo stairs. Puts the onus on it being watched, which it is, and Freelo claims the kill, and avoids the trade. Elsewhere, Outlast able to compound their advantage. But King taken low and swipes the ground. So 3 versus 3, minute on the clock, pretty neutral round at the moment. Controller critically still in the hands of the defense up above. So off-site presence again for Dream Warriors, a win con that they're looking to lean into.
I do lose the ability now, though, Outlast, to kind of swarm the site. You only got the 3v3 and you've got the Montang. So you're a bit slow here. I think they really needed this to be a 4v3 going into the final seconds, and they lose Jay Cannon for free. No more ROUs, no more sends. Otherwise, he's going to have to get aggressive. They do have the smokes at the very least. No Warden, so those smokes will be quite strong. Holding insider control is Freelo. And then there's one above watching this doorway position, starting to realize that this plan of attack may not work out, but Palarazi, insta headshot onto Freelo, trying to cut him off on the rotate. Smokes will indeed go out here late into red time. Kaken over towards Rafters, needs to get involved, but Realist has got this one locked down. The kit was acquired by Trippin. He will stick it inside of sight. They are aware that he is stuck in a certain position, and in the end it's just a matter of flushing him as he can't really fire back, and Dream Warriors will take themselves a significant 5-1 lead into the second half.
Yeah, 5-1, very significant. Again, in the context of 2 storylines, considering how Dream Warriors were able to perform in Stage 1, it's already a pretty significant step up, and then compounding that onto a map which, at least back on Stage 1 in OCE, was heavily attacker-sided. They've done well to counter that as well. Finding success on Cargo, all but sealing this matchup, you would imagine, from this point in time, but they still need to show progress on attack themselves, and that can be a challenge for developing teams. Bands play out, double shield, blitz Blackbeard, and then on the side of defense, the ever popular combo of Kaid and Bandit.
Yeah, I mean, so far for Outlast Gaming, it's now on the ropes territory. 5-1 down. Very least, though, they will get themselves the ability on defense to kind of, well, do the exact same. I do worry, though, because Dream Warriors, and especially Reelers, if you want to look at an individual, is playing really, really well. Goofed also struggling in this game, and I probably, again, sometimes get caught up with how good Goofed can be, Guz, but it's the inconsistency that separates him from the real top-end players in this region. His best is up there with the best. There's no doubt about it. He holds the kill record for a reason. But it's just being able to deliver on a nightly basis. But he goes defense now. And is this going to be what is needed for Outlast? Tell you what, Dream Warriors take top floor command server and make it 6-1. You could probably put a pin in this. Oh, this could be a freebie for Razor.
Yellow ping. Drone not spotted. Opportunity goes big.
Oh,
just a fraction too late.
I just don't think he backed himself in. You shoot first there and shoot early, and you find that opening kill. And this is also a confidence now for Realists coming out of that first half now into the second, going on to the Deimos. Early logic bomb, starting to take some decent position inside of the map now for the attack of Dream Warriors. Oh, you just hold this angle. Well, before it was all about he went a little too late. This time he needs to be patient and hold. Drone, and there it is. There's that push forward, and Eraser's patience this time will pay off. Opening pick for Dream Warriors. They have dominated in that regard throughout this game so far. That'll be their 5th in 7 rounds.
Yeah, big storyline out of this matchup. One that could have playoff implications. And that entry stat quite damning for Outlast. Top floor now will be increasingly difficult to hold, especially with less of the ability to invest down below encountering the Deimos. They need to fortify their crosses on site and not weaken the hold on the objective. So really pinned in a difficult position now is Outlast, and we'll see if they can fight their way out of it. Polarazzi looking to respond with gas canisters sent down below, but that won't be too impactful, I wouldn't imagine. And it does detract from utility that could be used over towards the likes of Con, which is probably his original intention, trying desperately to find something on Levert, but the opportunity not presenting itself. 35 seconds on the clock, so time may become a bit of an issue here for the attack, but with that strongman advantage and positional advantage, Dream Warriors are still, in my eyes, a good chance of being able to close this one out. One more pick on Bird and that would be all, but it's Deimos blue, and that should be good enough.
Yeah, also what's Trippin really looking at there, maybe just feeling like there's a hole in that back line. Trying to make his way back to that deployable shield, but too late. But the Vendetta Realist was good. Pal, one more gas babe after this as well. Have to push through it. Straight into the shotgun. Nothing else that Realist could realistically do. Polarazzi's played this so well over towards that blue side. Outlast will take the round. Got a little bit dicey, a little bit hairy. But in the end, Dream Warriors just left themselves with no time on the clock. As soon as that gas babe comes out to block off that blue hallway, I mean, there's 8 seconds on the clock. You can't just sit and wait. He has another one in the pocket. Had to force those out earlier. Unable to do so, and it cost them.
Yeah, the util management in the end wasn't too bad. I started to get a little bit concerned when it was invested down below to try and counter Deimos, but presence of mind to pocket it for the late round. The blue rotate right here was good, 20 seconds on the board, but the smoke stall out even better from Polarazzi, who was, you know, well primed and positioned. He rotated earlier on after fighting the Deimos, and then did a good job in being able to post up and have that utility in hand. Probably a good example where a bit more of a split attack, maybe some pressure over towards rafters, etc., IT breach, and the like could have alleviated that, putting all the chips on the table over towards blue so late without being able to soak that utility is always a rough position. Nonetheless, it was a positive start to the round for Dream Warriors. If they can continue to chip away and find entry, then they should eventually convert that to success, but stranger things have happened, and there's no guarantee that the entry is going to continue to be a success. Outlast could turn it up here a little bit. They have Vigil in play for the roam. In combination with Polarazzi, who's been playing well statistically so far as well. He can bunker. And so it won't be a free attacking round by any means. Rank in play, so Vert is the end goal, or at least the mid-round goal for the attack in combination with Buck. And we'll see just how aggressively offside Outlast elect to play and how early they decide to peel.
There's certainly no margin for error for Outlast. You lose this round, top floor still locked, you either have to repeat or go to the tertiary. And then you're 6-2 down. And the big strength for Dream Warriors have certainly been their opening kills. Something that Outlast will need to be mindful of when you're playing this roam game. You think about King, top floor, towards blue, on the Vigil. It's got a bit of help. In the end, 1 for 1, courtesy of King's positioning. Getting hunted down. Wizard able to confirm the kill, and they deal with the Vigil, and they take Jay Kenner as well as extra. Goof with the swing. Unable to find the player in the hallway. So far, so good for Dream Warriors. Razor taking a battle, but he wins it against Goofed. Goofed has struggled in this game. Down to Trippin and Polarazzi. On the basement site, and they're both there, and Trippin maybe not anticipating 2 bodies in his vision. And sometimes when you see 2, you kind of split the middle. Hard to focus up, and they need to focus up because they're 6-2 down. Dream Warriors take basement and have put Outlast well and truly on the ropes and just need to land that knockout blow.
Yeah, sharper work there from Dream Warriors at being able to maintain pace throughout the round, catching Outlast off guard and then confirming that with a bit of side control at the end, and the flank unable to have impact. It's 4 match points, a commanding position, and a difficult decision now to be made by Outlast. They elect to go tertiary, storage in play.
Attackers have discovered the location.
I liked what I've seen from Dream Warriors. Kaken especially has been pretty strong in this matchup. He's not posting massive numbers. Realize will take that crown, but he's had a couple of good moments. And if he is the one shot calling, he probably is to some extent. Has been doing a good job in that regard as well. So looking to jumpstart his career again and find some success. And off to a pretty positive opening play day here.
So can Outlast complete a comeback? They need to win 4 rounds straight to force overtime. And if I'm going to be honest, there hasn't really been enough evenness in the rounds lost to suggest they've got the capability. And Palarazi has been nothing short of sensational. He's the only player positive for Outlast. Prior to the last round, a 153 EPS. The next best player was Jay Kenner. And unfortunately, after the conclusion of the last round, his 153 EPS dropped to a 137. Next best player, still Jay Kenner, but at 82. Massive drop-off. Reelers, by the way, didn't have a kill prior to the rehost. So he is 11 kills, but I'll tack on an extra death. So he's 11-4. 8-3 for Kaken. 8-5 for Eraser, the 3 top performers for Dream Warriors. So it's... I don't want to say anything, Guz, but it's the 3 guys that have joined Wizard and Freelo. I don't know what to kind of make of that.
Yeah. up for interpretation.
Upgrades?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to have to play without a Razor in this round.
Yeah, I was going to say Outlast. Finally something going their way with an open kill. That being said, Dream Warrior is still fighting for what feels like a decent chunk of map control at the moment, looking for that vert control, especially with the fuse in play. And with Real still hunting on 11 kills, he's going to be tricky to take down as well. King still holding blue. Palarazi CC stairs. Tripping contested as well from below, but doesn't find success. Nitro ripped. Unimpactful. And King caught.
Catch King.
Yeah.
A little bit of unnecessary damage for Kaken and his hurriedness to try and push in towards blue. Another gas babe. That's the final one from Palarazi. At the very least for Dream Warriors, they've been able to get those out of him a bit earlier. Logic bomb will now subside. There's not really any kind of utility available for Outlast here on the defense. No gas babes. You've got a couple of goo mines, but the nitros have already been expended. But again, that time is starting to dwindle. Pistol kill for Reelers. Playing the IQ. And Wizard to get rid of Jay Kenner. And it seems like this match is indeed going to be a dream start for this roster in Oceania. Kaken also with the pistol. A 7-2 resounding defeat. Outlast have been brushed aside by the new dream team in this region. From the ashes of Saga Esports, arise the Warriors.
Yeah, very impressive performance to kick off their second stage here in 2025. Early days, but still a lot of positive takeaways. But that will conclude the match. Let's throw it to a break as we prepare for our third and final of the day.
now and not worry too much
Wait,
about
wait,
the
did you
past.
see that?
What?
Wait, what is this doing here?
Whoa! What the hell is going on?
Guys, we need to go.
Jess, what are you doing here?
We need to go now.
Jess, Doc is gone. We have to go back.
There's no time. There's really no time.
Can't take this anymore. I'm tired.
He's our head coach. I have to go save him.
You're already dead.
There's no escaping now.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's about to kick some serious ass? Remember, I'll be watching. Now you see me, now you don't.
Get ready! I'm taking them out!
Changing mags. I got these. Got my eyes on you. Located enemy.
It's another level 1v1, the close end for the ball. Win saves it further. What is going on? He grabbed that gun out. 2-on-1. We're going to see. Oh, yeah! Ese efectivo. E vai tentando plantar mais ainda. Prioritization. Immediately on the diffuser, Lagonis needs to get in there. You gotta go, Lagonis. Why are you not looking?
You know how they say it's not the destination, it's the journey?
And the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And you know what?
They're right.
I'm Dev, and today I'm going to be looking back at some moments from my career as a professional esports caster.
You might notice a familiar face joining us on the desk, and before we get into the matchup, I want to spend a moment talking about your journey as a caster, because this is your first
All right,
grand final. So
Yep.
if you gave some applause for the teams, can you do the same for Dev Marta?
So this is my first grand final cast in the Atlanta Major. Yes, this was an exciting moment for me. I feel like this event, I'd already been, so this was what, 2023? I've been casting since 2016, so a long time. But I feel like this event was the first time where I actually like thought I was good. And I'm lucky that Parker was like to me, hey, we've been asked to do the grand final, but I want you to join us for it. And like, for all of my years casting, like kind of being the guy from APAC, like I'm kind of always just the guy from APAC, never kind of get a chance to do the grand final or anything like that. So it was a pretty big moment. And yeah, Parker is a very lovely guy. And funnily enough, it was my first big cast that I did with Pengu, who's now my duo. A lot of things going on in my brain during that event. Like that event, I feel like me and my co-caster at the time, Mandy, like we were doing really well. This memory really just evokes like, I guess the thought that like, even after doing something for a long time, you can still like kind of push to the next level. Also, it just felt like a really big moment, even though Atlanta, you know, it wasn't the biggest event ever, right? And it was a major, it wasn't a Six Invitational, but like W7M, now Furia, like they were like kind of carving their own history, like they've now formed a bit of a dynasty. And this was kind of the moment where that became like, ooh, they're starting to really do things that no one's ever done before, because no team had ever won 2 majors before. When I started casting in 2016, I had no specific ambition. I had no idea that I would end up doing grand finals, that it would end up being like a career for, you know, maybe 10 years or more. I was literally just a guy who was like bored with his course at uni and felt like, studying music isn't gonna get me a job.
Well, Dream Warriors have been able to get themselves a win on the board, which is a huge improvement from some of the members back on what was Saga last stage. But one final game to go tonight. We've got Enterprise versus Man LFO coming up, guys, where for Enterprise, it's a matter of can they continue keeping on. The stage 1 that they had was great. They were clearly the best team in the region at that point in time. The emphasis will be if they can maintain that #1 status. Of course, they got to go over to EWC where they were competitive. They showed good promise. They probably didn't get a super deep run akin to say like a Weibo, but for the team's first test, you know, in that international land environment, I think they could take some good positives away. We know Fisher's of course got the wealth of experience, but for the 4 others, it was a really, really good opportunity, and I think they made the most of it.
Yeah, we've certainly seen more grim debuts overseas for Australian / Oceanic teams in days gone by, so I think they can hold their head pretty high with how they performed. Pretty rough draw in the end, but showed promise against Furia, and hopefully behind the scenes they're able to gather a wealth of experience and practice against high quality opposition, many of whom on this team were previously not exposed to that really outside of Fish. So intrigued to see how they rebound heading into stage 2 off the back of EWC, and of course just continue on their domestic form. They'll be pretty cognizant to the fact that Chiefs are somewhat close behind them. I don't know how big that gap really is at the moment, but it will likely close as the stage progresses. So Enterprise need to get off to a good start, gain that lead in terms of performance, and then be able to sustain that and maintain that level over the next month or so.
Their opponents, Man LFO, which is the remnants of Circular Spheres, those left over, if you will, from stage 1, which also has got the addition of a couple of new players. No surprise, considering, of course, the majority of Circular Spheres kind of joined off with Outlast, and we get the debut of good old Paul Beers himself. Beers and Scars, of course, brothers that get to finally now play together on a team here in T1 OCE, along with Hunter, Sharky, and Pluto. A difficult roster to probably gauge when you kind of take into account the fact that this particular stage of OCE has seen so many changes from stage 1. Outlast being Outlast XCS, of course, Dream Warriors, big roster additions there. TSG kind of come in a similar looking lineup. But for Man Esports, where do they fit in all of this? It's really hard to probably grasp that. I mean, I don't necessarily think they're by any means a lock for 7th, but they're probably going to be around that mark of like 5th, 6th, 7th, trying to avoid that 7th spot. I can't envision this as a roster that's suddenly going to battle for first and be in the same stratosphere as a Chiefs or an Enterprise. So I guess middle point may be the expectation for this roster.
Yeah, I would say so. As you're kind of alluding to, though, it is very difficult to gauge where they're at, probably more so than maybe any other roster. Dream Warriors would be a close contender in terms of difficult to read, and obviously got off to a very positive start today. So for Man LFO, an opportunity to just get an official under the belt and see how they go. Fixturing very unkind to them, or in some respects maybe you could actually see it as a positive. Use this as a good warm-up game heading into the rest of the stage against EP, and use it as a benchmark, see where they're at, expose any potential weaknesses that they may have, and then they can look to scrim at that and work on it as officials go forward. It's a good litmus test for them, and they can see where the team is really at. Right now, they have a decent level of experience with a couple of these players. You look at Hunter, Scars, even Pluto to an extent by this period of time as well. So if they could tap into that, I don't see why they can't show a level of competitiveness in this match.
Even Sharky, to a degree, has had a couple of rounds under his belt as well. I mean, Beers is going to be the big one in terms of, I guess, it's not his debut per se. He subbed in, I believe, group stage in stage 1 temporarily. I can't recall as to which team that was for, so apologies, but this is going to be his debut at the very least as a core part of a roster and going forward for Man LFO. So that's going to be intriguing to see. When he kind of came on the scene as well, a lot of hype around him, and this was kind of during the stage as well with Lunchbox, a couple of these new young gunners coming through. We had to conceal it. Man LFO will defense first up. So, yeah, I mean, there's no pressure on Beers coming in by no means, but it's going to be fascinating to see, again, another kind of player that's, got some potential to have a decent career. Scars, as he said, got experience and can lean on his brother, and it does mean we now have 2 teams in the Oceanic region that have got brothers. It's a very siege thing, isn't it? I mean, I feel like how many esports do you have so many teams that have got brothers playing on it? You think of, the fact that we've got 2 teams in the same region. And then in other regions, you've got brothers playing on opposite teams, with like Handy and Nate, for instance. So it's kind of crazy how many brothers are kind of in the whole ecosystem. But for having 2 teams in this region that both have brothers on them together is quite insane.
Yeah, an intriguing storyline, and wishing them all the best going forward. We've seen success in the past with that dynamic with Sage and Brendo specifically locally, so we'll see if they're able to replicate that and tap into that a little bit. As for the map veto as it has played out, clearly Consulate the decider. Lair and Cafe intriguingly do sneak through. Don't strike me as maps that were particularly prominent back in stage number 1. I'll have a quick look across. Yeah, they're very much in the mid-pack. Lair, of course, trailed significantly. It was the least played map in stage 1, so it was pretty unlikely that Man LFO specifically were going to let that through, as EP are likely well accustomed to it, and with their level of experience would have been very, very strong on it. So Consulate, a decent middle ground, rather popular in OS, and I think sets the battleground for a map that's familiar for the two. Doesn't give either one a major edge in terms of the veto discussion, but at least on defense, Man LFO might be able to mount something.
Just slight delay in starting this one off as well. Another Moss issue. I mean, I guess it's just kind of play day one things.
It's day one. Yeah.
You know, especially with maybe new players coming in for the first time, not always having things set up properly. Yeah, the fact that we kind of came into tonight with only the 3 games, so I was anticipating maybe a kind of quick night, but it seems as if we're kind of running a little bit behind schedule as to, you know, we had the double rehost in the previous game plus the Moss issue before it, and now a Moss issue before this one. It's just the old classic shenanigans that you do get, especially towards the start of a stage, but I can't imagine it's going to take too long until we can get underway. In terms of prediction for this one, I mean, Enterprise are absolutely dead set favorites to the point that you'd almost say 99%. So what about prediction in terms of scoreline, guys? Like that's probably a fairer way to kind of look at this.
Scoreline wise, I think this is pitched at probably about the realm of a 7-3. We'll see likely some promise for Man LFO and can mount a bit on defense, but then EP should run away with it in the second half. That's the most likely outcome. If there's a couple of curveballs thrown, I could see that extend out to a 7-4 at most. Anything outside of that window, though, if we see a 7-0 stomp or, you know, a close 7-5 or OT, I'd be pretty surprised. Something's definitely gone astray for one of the teams by a significant margin if that is to take place.
Alrighty, let's get underway. So Consulate, we go for what will be the final game of tonight's action for OCE. Enterprise, absolutely hard favourites. And the winners from stage 1 will be looking to kickstart things off nicely for stage 2. While we take a little bit of time to kind of get into this game, as we unfortunately had a game crash, I would imagine we're maybe on the verge of even just throwing it to a break at this point. But I did want to quickly shout out Ludovica too, because we haven't really had the chance to kind of talk about them. They've had the night off. I'm expecting big things for them this stage. It's a shame we won't get to see them tonight. Of course, they'll get to play in Playday 2. And in terms of where they kind of fit into the whole scheme of things, they're right up there in my eyes, you know, with Chiefs and EP. Last stage, we had the big 3, which was Chiefs, GG, EP. EP, of course, ended up, you know, besting those 2 teams. And I think the big 3 for this stage is going to be, again, Chiefs, Enterprise, and Ludovica probably join them. To what degree, hard to say.
Yeah. Just waiting for an update, hopefully, on this technical issue. It sounds like we will have a rehost. Unfortunately, one of the players did crash as we entered into the server, and with that, we will go to a hopefully short break, and we'll be back on the other side.
I'm Dev, and today I'm going to be looking back at some moments from my career as a professional esports caster.
A familiar face joining us on the desk. And before we get into the matchup, I want to spend a moment talking about your journey as a caster, because this is your first grand final. So if you gave some applause for the teams, can you do the same for Dev Marta?
So this is my first grand final cast in the Atlanta Major. Yes, this was an exciting moment for me. I feel like this event, I'd already been, so this was what, 2023? I've been casting since 2016, so a long time. But I feel like this event was the first time where I actually like thought I was good. And I'm lucky that Parker was like to me, hey, we've been asked to do the grand final, but I want you to join us for it. And like for all of my years casting, like kind of being the guy from APAC, like I'm kind of always just the guy from APAC, never kind of get a chance to do the grand final or anything like that. So it was a pretty big moment. And yeah, Parker is a very lovely guy. And funnily enough, it was my first big cast that I did with Pengu, who's now my duo. A lot of things going on in my brain during that event. Like that event, I feel like me and my co-cast at the time, Mandy, like we were doing really well. This memory really just evokes like, I guess the thought that like, even after doing something for a long time, you can still like kind of push to the next level. Also, it just felt like a really big moment, even though Atlanta, you know, it wasn't the biggest event ever, right? And it was a major, it wasn't a 6 invitational, but like W7M, now Furia, like they were like kind of carving their own history. Like they've now formed a bit of a dynasty. And this was kind of the moment where that became like, ooh, they're starting to really do things that no one's ever done before, because no team had ever won 2 majors before. When I started casting in 2016, I had no specific ambition. I had no idea that I would end up doing grand finals, that it would end up being like a career for, you know, maybe 10 years or more. I was literally just a guy who was like bored with his course at uni and felt like, studying music isn't gonna get me a job, so I'm gonna go work in a cafe and play video games. And I actually wanted to be a pro player, but I also watched like Kickstar and Panky and those casters, and I was like, I feel like I could do that. Like I got the music performance experience, and I like teaching, I like talking about like how stuff works. So casting felt like something I was better at than playing. I had no idea that, yeah, it could be a career, that it could be something that is like my full-time job, or that I would get to do a grand final or work with people that I literally was watching. Like back in the day, I was watching Pengu. Like I remember the early hours of the morning watching Penta versus Black Dragons, the grand final that Pengu won in like 2017 or something like that. Like I had no idea that I would one day be casting with them. So sometimes, yeah, you check yourself and like a bit of a surreal moment. I couldn't be a pro player because I'm not good enough. I overthink everything, and I'm better at casting anyway. This has been R6 Rewind with Dev Marta. I hope you guys are looking forward to stage 2, because APL is gonna slap.
Back underway for the final game of tonight's proceedings here for APL. It is, of course, day 1 group stage. Enterprise versus Man LFO. Double shield ban, Consulate. Make a triple shield ban. The Clash banned out is great news. So we don't have any Clash lobby issues. And Kaid as well, also banned out to complete. We go to CO and meeting. For the opening round, Man LFO on defense. When you're going up against the big dogs, I think you typically want to start on defense. Bap Demon. And say a player. Now, player's a great story, I think, as an individual, considering he's wasn't a part of this roster for a large part of their group stage success. Came in for playoffs and ended up being one of the top-rated players in the region, and I thought performed really well overseas. Has solidified himself into this roster. Almost felt like it completed this roster, but despite that, it's not as if Killerman was playing bad either. It really goes to show the strength of what Enterprise were doing. Killerman was performing incredibly well up until he had to make way on this team.
I'll see if he's able to play that is carrying that form into stage number 2. Did okay at EWC, finding his feet on land for the first time, and looking to now carry that form back to OCE.
Well, I pose
on the nomad for the opening rounds. So.
I pose a question here. Day 1, OCE, getting to the end of it. Is there a world in which we can get 2 OCE teams to the major?
Ooh. I mean, that's a pretty loaded question to be asking this early. I think EP are definitely 100% in that discussion. They'll likely be strong in stage 2 and it should be our best bet. Chiefs to me are the most intriguing one. I think I said it off cuff earlier during the break. I believe that their potential ceiling could still be higher than EP, maybe. Assuming some of the older members of that team still have form defined and aren't washed. And if that is to be the case, the Chiefs can ramp up form in a way that we've seen in the past. That'll be a real threat, I think, as well for that lane.
Relays was getting peppered from Spiral. That was Scars making his way up to try and flank, but then got tag teamed. Smokes go out and the glass can be strong. Pluto's going to be aware of that, playing long desk and eventually shot through it. Hole opened up, kill found. Relays is not going to fully clear out vending though. Hunter's going to punish him, but cleared on the other end of it by Fisher Guy. He was not going to be able to get out of that position. Even if he had a run into the flames, he would have ended up losing his life. And Tuhar makes very quick work to close out the round. And Enterprise flex their muscles here in the opening round. A nice quick attack and gets them on the board.
Bit of banter in the chat. Expecting this to be a pretty fun game. EP will respect, I think, Man LFO to an extent, but at the same time don't want to be inside of the server all too long, and they'll be looking to walk away with this one in a confident fashion. Basement follow-up. Man LFO with Mirror in play. Can look to hold backline on this particular site, maybe employ Roam to some extent. They do have the Legion available. Couldn't play Fenrir aggressively off-site as well. EP will contest. I had the Vert in play, Ash as well for the mirror counter. IQ also brought in the case that there was some additional info gathering tools on defense, but just the BPCs, at least for this particular round. And they, well, switch accordingly. They bring the Twitch in exchange for the Ash, so that's double pronged. They can deal with the mirror and the BPCs, and Dockerby as well.
I think what makes Enterprise such a formidable team is really just the smarts of Fisher Guy and what he can bring to this roster. Relays able to find the pick onto Scars. From our point of view, I thought it was going to go in a completely different direction. I had to stop and double take that. Win some and lose some. A little bit more talking in this game between these two teams. Man LFO probably come into this game not anticipating victory. Probably just more of a test to see where they're at and how far they can push this Enterprise team. I think invaluable, though, having a player like Fish and what he brings to this roster. And, kind of joked last stage it's Fish plus 4 fraggers and still not far off of that. But that's really the strength of this Enterprise roster. You think about throughout stage 1, it was, some nights it was Bappin, some nights it was Player, some nights it was Relays, some nights it was Tuhan. Beers, though, gets himself on the board for stage 2. Brother of Scars. Makes it a 4 versus 4. Keeps the Legion alive and can get those goo mines out. And I went too soon. Beers is now dead. 90 seconds. Good time management from Enterprise. They don't rush their general play. Logic Bomb rings out from relays, and relays then swing peaks onto Pluto successfully. Hunter spotted towards break. Relays taking the fight. And that's all too easy. That's a soft little swing from Hunter. Sharky will catch out Fisher Guy in the dungeon. Really should close this out, and he does. And even if he had lost that one, there was pressure going to eventually be coming from below. Quick work for Enterprise so far to begin. 2-0. Man LFO going to have to put up more of a fight if this is to be a contest, and they call an early tactical timeout. 5 kills from relays. And as I said before, guys, that you know, it could be it could be relays tonight. Next play day could be Bappin. The day after that could be player. It's the strength of this roster.
Yeah, certainly the most well-rounded team in the frag department for the region. Fisher is the only one who is expected to have a bit of a downturn statistically, but makes up for that in a multitude of other ways, as we've come to expect. And as you mentioned, it really can be anyone's night on this team posting double digits. Relays will probably no doubt reach that milestone sooner rather than later, even if this is to be a quick match. Expo Piano to follow. Man LFO, off the back of their attack timeout, they'll head to the tertiary looking for success. They've looked to play with aggression. They've attempted spawn picks. They played Hunter in admin for garage defense, so they're not shying away, but unfortunately EP are up to the task in denying it.
Well, strength to strength so far for Enterprise, coming out of stage 1, EWC, then into stage 2. It must be a weird feeling, though, as a professional player, going from, you know, taking on Furia, who are, you know, world champions, winners of many big events, come back home, and no disrespect to Man LFO, but that's your very next opponent. I know you've got scrims and such in between, but in terms of officials, it's quite a contrast. Sometimes it's all mental. You know full well that on a technical level, as a team and as individuals, that you're better. You're at a different point in your evolution as a team to your opposition. But you've got to just mentally stay locked in and kind of bring the same mental prowess that you had back at EWC against a team like Fury. Because you go into a game like that so mentally locked in, but you come in, it's day 1, it's Man LFO. Are you as mentally locked in? And so far, it looks as if they are. No shortcuts. They don't look lazy. They're doing their due diligence. They're playing with good tempo. And I think that's always a sign of a really good team. And it's kind of what made Bliss so successful. You think about their run of that Bliss roster. They clean swept the competition in this region. And it was just a matter of, you know, getting back to those majors at SIs as a when, not if.
Yeah, AP certainly have a lot more to prove to reach that level of stature, but certainly possible. The region's in a bit of a strange spot at the moment, and they could capitalize with an error of their own. Turning in on the round 3 of this particular matchup, critical for Man LFO to find their first. Tactical timeout used. Enterprise probing, and it's an admin side hit. Hunter goes to play vending. I don't think he has support. Double stack meeting. Players relocating. Hunter under a bit of pressure and caught immediately. No trade potential. So Man LFO struggling to play around this, but Beers does eventually at least find one back. A little delayed, but good enough. Positive signs from Beers early on.
You say errors as the team. Fisher guy has been in a perpetual error. Chiefs era into Bliss era into GG, where they were at their best, and now into Enterprise. It's the Fisher guy effect. Retake the lead in this round. Scar's yet to find a kill. His brother, though, not struggling in that department. Will need to play a big portion of this round, though. Now down a player. 40 seconds remaining for Enterprise, but they do not panic. They still got Fisher Guy alive, calling the action on that Blackbeard. Only the one drone that we are getting to watch right now. That is the only drone available for Enterprise. So the only information that they can get is a flank watch. 20 seconds, got to pick up this pace now. Fisher Guy into an Expo, and Sharky hits the headshot and gets the second onto Tuhan as well. Flips the round, and now Bappin and Player have to get involved quickly. Player finds the kill onto Sharky. That's his third in the round. Yet to die. Bappin will slip into Expo and get this kit down. Not being watched, and Pluto makes his way in. Yellow ping, easy kill, and that's the round. Man LFO are on the board here on Consulate.
Yeah, a little bit better there. Their aggression mid to late was better rewarded on that occasion, and the coverage just wasn't quite on point. And LFO converting that attack nicely. Additional bans now to follow. Pretty intrigued to see what sort of direction this will end up taking. Okay, so ban for double hard breach, denial. Glaz also in play, or taken out rather, of play. As we return back to the original rotation, second floor to follow. Basement likely after that. And the match just takes an intriguing turn here where Man LFO may be in a position to just hang on.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs
They have
as
now
can.
the arguably better sites to defend. It'll take me a little bit to crawl through the numbers and find exactly how this map shapes up in OCE, but I shall do that now.
Deploying explosive ordnance.
Sharky influential in that round. Good couple of kills. Especially to get the quick double when he did. 3v3, the push coming through. Fisher on the Blackbeard to find that kill. Then Tuhan quickly after that. And set up the team very, very nicely. I don't think Enterprise is the kind of team that would panic even if this goes like 2-3 in favor of Man LFO. It certainly would make this a very intriguing match and spiciness levels would rise, but yeah, they don't, to me, seem like the sort of team that would panic and feel the pressure. It's back in their system, back in their shot calling. It's a good map for the fraggers, relays and Tuhan. Player to just roam around, find kills, create lots of 1v1s. But for Man LFO to get the round on the board would be well good for them. You don't want to get 7-0'd on the opening play day. They got one. Good confidence builder. Not really any kind of pressure on them in this match to perform.
Some default information still up here for defense, as down below Hunter contests Bappin, or Hunter above contesting below rather. The Buck looking for information, and Pluto attempted to pressure, but Bap already a clean pick from the Buck, and now opens up his potential for more pressure from below. Bees as well, onto Sharky. Enterprise connecting nicely here through the mid round. Drone info up as well. Man LFO forced to play in some rather uncomfortable positions to open up this piece.
Opening kill in every single round so far for Enterprise. It's kept Man LFO on the back foot. Never able to progress with an advantage in these rounds. Always reactive rather than proactive. And just under a heap of pressure from so many different angles. But Hunter, well positioned and deals with Bappin, who they knew was down below, causing an absolute ruckus. Opening up the floorboards and those flashes, but maybe not anticipating relays with the late flank. They do lose Fisher Guy, though, to the nitrocell of Hunter. But at least gets that off before losing his life. 3 versus 3. One Candela available from Tuhan, and one flash from Player. The Candela hasn't been used yet and will not. Losing his life out to Beers. Nitro drone from Beers, and he got it off in time. Beers with a massive play. The double kill Now creates the 1v1 for his brother to finish off the job, but he's low on health and hasn't found a kill yet against the rampaging Relays, who's 7-2 and at full HP with 20 seconds to close this round out. He will acquire the kit. He will stick it. Scars needs to play off of this information. There's enough time. He just runs. Relay gets off, and he only needed to land a toe shot. Well, the first real 50-50 kind of round, and it goes the way of Enterprise. Thank God for Scars, says Tuhan. I think Scars, though, in fairness, he has 10 seconds and he's sprinting really early, and I would imagine the only reason for it is the plant position. If that goes down and he gets to vault out that window, it becomes so difficult to win.
Yeah, the HP deficit making it difficult in its own right, and really the only reason why Relays did it actually win out that engagement was able to soak up 2 or 3 of those shots. And with the Deagle in hand, it was, well, any weapon of course was only going to take the one shot, and eventually able to land it in the end. With that, Enterprise kickstarting this half very nicely, shaping up to be a 3-1 so far. And looking at some of the numbers for this particular map, second floor 58% defense, first floor 60% defense over towards Expo. Basement 62% defense. So these are rather heavily defender-sided sites that we're seeing so far. And Man LFO, understandably, finding it tricky.
And this is why those statistics, again, when the sample size is not always the largest, you know, this is going to make the next time we see console, they're going to be like, oh, so far it's been attacker-sided in stage 2. You know?
Yeah, I mean, those numbers I was echoing, by the way, just for context, was globally last year, so there's a 73 game sample size.
Oh yeah,
I'm not saying stage to stage, it could skew. Yes,
I'm not
we're going to be like, yeah, for the remainder of the stage, we're going to be like, well, our console's attacking stronger, which is unlikely to be. But...
Well, it's been a great start for Beers in his full debut, full starting roster debut. His brother, though, has struggled. Had an opportunity in that previous round to tie it up 2-2, but yeah, he was always in the worst position of the two players. Relay's looking confident, comfortable. They just look so patient on their attack with the way they're playing Consulate. It's not a matter of just sprinting around. They hold positions, bide their time. Oh, that flash. We'll talk about timing. Hunter could have really found that kill a lot easier than he ended up finding it. Fisher Guy 1-5, but Fisher Guy could be 1-13, and it really does not matter to this roster. His job is to not find kills, to not frag out, but to lead his team. But they do need Relays to be finding kills, and Scars is on the board. And Man LFO go 2 players up in this 5th round. Tuhan can't make the drop successfully, and this is going to be dominant by Man LFO. Hunter feels it. A 3rd in the round acquired. He goes to 6-4. Bap and the Demon, supposedly. It would have to be something quite demonic if they to win this round now in a 1v5. Man LFO should indeed be finding their 2nd round. And the way he's playing this is just the sense of it's a 1v5 in ranked. They all just sprint at you. But Man LFO are not sprinting. And Hunter will find a 4th. Dominant.
Yeah, Hunter's really coming alive at the moment. And Man LFO themselves bringing to life a little bit. Clinging onto it still in some respect. EP leading on attack. But they're showing fight against a difficult opposition. And I mean, that last round, as we look at the highlight package, despite the clean flash above, Fisho fell 1-5. All of these gunfights, Man LFO out on top, Tuhan with an active desperation yellow, and Hunter cleaning up on the vigil.
Yeah, it's the way in which they won the round as well. We get to see some Denari here picked up by Beers. To win flawlessly against Enterprise, 3-2 scoreline. Yeah, this is a competitive game right now. Fisher Guy will go on to the Blackbeard, which will help with his survivability. which he has struggled with in this game. Bappen has also struggled to get going. I know I said it before. Yeah, you can have 1 or 2 guys maybe per night look a little bit average, and then the next night it all just swaps around. See how these trip connectors play out in the route. Curious to kind of follow those from Beers on the Denari.
This Nitro could be massive if the timing's on point. Hunter with the Nitro in hand. Here we go.
Shot out.
Shot out.
Well played from player. Okay. Good sense. Small little margins and a small little win for Enterprise. It's the only Nitro that Man LFO had, so that now has been quelled. Looking to push through electrical. Yeah, I mean, this is a big stack, a big enforcement of bodies for Enterprise.
Big commitment to the back here, and the onus now on a Man LFO to rotate accordingly. They do have a lot of trap utility. They should not be caught off guard by this. And the stall out as well, giving them even more time to reposition and prepare for this back hit. Decent drone work from AP at the moment. They are able to spot the pivot from defense. Midpoint of the round, and no pick either way.
Again, the slow tempo from Enterprise, but I think Man LFO have played into it well. Like, they're not just running around and searching for answers and searching for information. They're happy to hold themselves. It just forced a couple of these rounds to see that clock, you know, wind down. Fisho, aggressive. Oh, yeah, caught out in the timing, though. Hunter will shoot him in the side, and Fisho will fall at 1 and 6 now, struggling to have impact with gun in hand. Relays, hitting that headshot is ridiculous. Scars will feel hard done by. That is a sick shot. Trades one back and forth. Bappen will start to get involved. Sharky up close, wins his battle against player. Having a good game is Sharky, but needs to go one better. Flash dumped in his direction. Very low on health. Critical levels. 30 seconds. 1v2 up close. There's the demon. And he starts to awake here on Consulate. And a good way in the end for Enterprise to close the half out. 4 attacking rounds. Job done. They go defense, and I would imagine they will look to run away with it from here.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I got a bit scary there for AP. The push from Fish, he got caught with that bad timing pillar, and there was no trade, but they were able to reconvene the util combination of the Grim and the Flash, but it was really, really clean. And then the pinch from Tuhan main breach as well, just to have that added layer of pressure, made it very, very difficult for the defense to back in towards Garage and find a foothold there. So overall, really, really clean. There's that little lurk from Tuhan, and then Sharky got caught out. Tried to push into the Flash, and good catch from Bap. Now, it looked like there was maybe some kind of glitch during the ban phase. I believe that may have been resolved, or player restarting game at the moment, so hopefully we'll resolve in a moment's time. So an okay half for Man LFO. I think it can be outlaid. EP, though, clearly the better of the two, but you would expect that heading into this match.
Yeah, I mean, so far I think this has kind of followed the script. I asked you the kind of scoreline prediction coming into this game. You said like a 7-3. Enterprise were an absolutely solid team and had an amazing stage 1, but that doesn't always mean you're just going to go and 7-0 everyone. Even the best in this region at times aren't always capable of that. You kind of look at their results actually from last stage, and 7-1, 7-5, 7-3, 7-5, 7-3. They didn't really have too many results that were incredibly dominant. In fact, the most dominant one was against Game of Gladiators, 7-1 in the group stage. The matches I'm referring to, they did actually get a 7-0 against Ludovica in the playoffs, which was after an 8-6 banger. And yeah, relatively clean end to this stage, 7-3 twice into 7-2 into 7-5. So not really a history of too many 7-0s. We're in that kind of realm. I also think it's probably more likely we get into this second half and they just probably win 3 rounds straight, make it 7-2. And in the end, I think 7-2, 7-3 scoreline, the one that you predicted, is probably fair. One that wouldn't have, definitely been unexpected. Hopefully not too long until we can get underway. Just one of those nights.
Well, just got word that said player has returned. With that, we re-enter the ban phase, and it seems like all is good. Monte Clash up first, so heavy emphasis on shields. Will EP elect to double down onto the Blitz? I would assume they probably will. Should be a little bit more flexibility for Man LFO. And they elect to go with the Azami.
I don't know why, and this is just my brain, but it looks like Smoke and Mute have their hands up and they've got swords on their backs, like...
Now that I've seen it, I can't see it.
It's like the, what is it, Absolute Cinema. Alright, 4-2. Fortunately, no real stall out from that tech pause. We can continue. But yeah, I mean, like, we always kind of say these things, and I remember when we kind of went over for EWC and kind of chatting shop a little bit, in regards to, like, Enterprise, people asking about them, and I think we would always say, Fisher guy could get you 0 kills and have 10 deaths, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's quite strange that he's that good in terms of his strat calling, his strategy, his influence on the team, both inside and outside of the server, that he doesn't really need to get kills, and there's enough firepower in the roster and that it's been so well constructed that it alleviates any kind of need for him to have to worry about kills. That he can, and a lot of the times, and we saw in the previous round, he will be one of the first players in to clear out positions to get information. He dies, he spots maybe one player in a corner, another player that kills him, he calls that out to his team. That is handy information and selfless as well for him to play that role.
Yeah, he wouldn't still be playing at this kind of level with the level of success and number of lane appearances as he has had with that stat profile without being highly influential in other ways. And so credit to him. And we'll be eyeing off another lane appearance at Munich in November. It's a long and winding road to get there, though, especially in APL. The team's looking to battle their way in a spot at the major playoffs. As Hunter finds the first, Tuhan responds, team kill. Lights up the kill feed, and so too does Bappin and player Bappin to close the piece. And that's an LOL chat from Tuhan.
Yeah, it's... I mean, there's not really, like, there's not much to break down in that round. They've just tried to go for a fast hit, execute, and create that kind of chaos round. And it's so chaotic that you end up getting a TK. And it looks like we're going to get a tech pause here. Again, another game freeze. Well, the only thing stopping Enterprise right now is themselves, the server, the game. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of a nothing sort of round where for Man LFO, it's just like, we're going to go fast. Try and get some kills, maybe get a quick plant down, and Enterprise are just ready for that. They're not going to be, swayed by that kind of aggression. 5-2 up, and yeah, I kind of the only thing that's delaying this game right now are these tech pauses.
Yeah, Man LFO attempted to throw the Chaos Ball into that particular round, but EP was certainly ready for it, well positioned. Yellow lockdown, CEO held, team kill didn't help, and so pretty expected result in the end there. Quite unfortunate for Man LFO. It seems to be one of the kind of strategies that we're seeing a lot of underdog teams employ more so in O's. In years gone by, that underdog teams would play hyper passive and would get caught out in that regard. Now it definitely feels like it's swung the other way, where it's almost hyper aggression, and that can work at snatching a round or two, but finding sustained results with that kind of playstyle and consistency is very, very difficult. And it's why teams that can bring a more measured tempo and play with a little bit more delicacy and a little bit more precision, like Enterprise showed in that first half, typically tend to come out on top. And I expect that trend to continue. AP will transition basement likely for the second round. They can look to stall out breach and prevent the back push. Probably play a peel on the top floor as well. There's definitely potential for that. And then when you theory craft like Expo or even Split, for instance, that play again will be a significant win con for both teams. AP will contest, they'll have the systems in place for mid-round flanks, which are increasingly popular on defense. And so it feels like very much a case of if not when for the result of this particular matchup. As you've kind of mentioned, they've been really holding AP back from steamrolling this in a timely fashion is the game or hardware. So hopefully we can get that resolved. It should be the case of just another quick restart and the lobby will resume as soon as we have any updates. Of course, we will relay them across.
Do we have any updates?
There was an update, yes. He's coming back. Game is loading, so we should be back in just under a minute.
I really do like these stills, by the way. This is some of my favorite little waiting shots. Did a really good job with these, whoever made them.
Yeah, I believe they are captured from actual pro moments. Specifically,
really?
Who, what, when, or why, I don't know. I believe so.
I thought it was like kind of just random, but I mean that would make a lot more sense. Yeah.
I'm pretty certain. I think I heard about it being done at some point, taking the game files from pro games. Also considering the fact that everyone's wearing default uniforms or pro uniforms would validate that.
Apparently it was scrims.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully it gets reiterated upon over time.
Yeah, more
do
maps.
it with like iconic moments or something.
It's not done on every single map, right? I feel like is it just Consulate?
No, every map.
Every map? Okay.
In the pool. There you go. See?
Oh. Well, I mean, this is not the exact same thing. This is very different.
No. They've got the same stuff. Let it roll out. Let it roll out.
Okay.
Yeah, see?
All right. I get it. Yep. You don't need to.
Did you not pay attention at all during stage 1 when it got played for 14 hours?
Hey, they were long days. I was just trying to stay awake. Alrighty. Back underway. 5-2.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Jammer ready to activate.
Attackers have located a bomb.
And we head to the basement for the 8th round. Enterprise looking to close this one out.
Jammer ready.
And get the job done. We have a little glance into the future, shall we, in terms of Playday 2, which is actually not for a couple more days, not until September 7th, so 3 more days. It'll be Man LFO taking on Dream Warriors. That's going to be an intriguing game. And those are the games that'll give us more answers as to, where teams are at, really, and the battle towards the bottom end. Enterprise Ludovica, that's a big one. Talk about first match of the stage for Ludovica. They've got tonight off, and I guess they get a couple of extra days to prepare for what will be a big game against Enterprise, looking for some grand final revenge. And then Outlast versus Chiefs to close out, which means TSG get the night off. We'll be there for that one, Guz, you and I.
Yeah, the fixturing is a little bit strange. I think on average it's about a 3-day break for the players this stage. It's not always 3 days, but...
Yeah, it's 3 days, then it's 2 days, then it's 5 days,
oh,
then it's 1 day.
Hold that. 4-man breach. But fixturing is the best. Deep and they die. Man LFO trying to send the Chaos Ball again, but... denied. EP. Kick it back. Ball deflated. Not many win cons left.
Well, this is like
Just
the definition
BS. He has
of...
had a good day, to be fair, but a 1v4, too much.
The definition of sending it down mid, right? Last round, this round, they're getting these rounds done and quick. Somewhere to be, or someone's tired and wants to go to bed. Well, 6-2. I mean, to be fair, right? Like, from a more game sense perspective on this matchup, if Man LFO think, okay, let's play slow, let's try and play smart, you're not going to outsmart Enterprise. And the slow play style is just going to benefit Enterprise. Your only real chance is to probably try and play this kind of chaos ball style, but you've got to also be incredibly sharp. Wow, tech again. Guys, just play 4v5. It's fine. Scars is like, no. You know, technically, Man LFO could just surrender, right? I'm pretty sure they could, right?
Yeah, technically, I think they could.
Well, actually, though, if you were to FF from here, is it 7-2 or does it go down to 7-0? How does that work?
That's a phenomenal question. I don't know. I don't think that's ever happened. You probably get a fine too.
Really?
If you just quit the game, yeah, I think there's punishment potential. I don't know. I could be completely speaking out my bum, but I believe so.
Like at this point, we're literally getting round. Luckily, they've been very quick rounds. And then
I want to know what the issue is, though. I'm not too sure if it's a new season thing or. Either way, it's not ideal.
Well, we're just going to throw it a break so we can come back and do one round after the break. See you then.
It's another 1v1, the close end for the ball, Win saves the what is going on? Sem efetivo, e vem tentando plantar, mas saiu de guerra. Prioritization,
strange technical issues in this game. Unfortunately for Bappin, he's getting some strange graphical error bug, which continues to plague him. But it's not plaguing his performance, though. He's now 8-3. And the way that Man LFO have been going pacing-wise in this second half is that looks like they want to just wrap this one up. Anything that has been stalling it out have been these tech pauses. Will they send it one more go at the Chaos Ball approach?
Yeah, well, we saw a rush attempt CEO. 2 rounds ago. Then we saw the 4-man snowball with Glaz through Garage last round. And considering the Blackbeard is in play alongside the Ying, I hazard to guess we're going to see something similar for this match point round. Scars can lurk Spiral, rest of the team can hit admin. Try and get that vert control and then send it below. Hunter as well lurking yellow. He's got decent positioning now. Could catch a timing. Although the Melusi may make that less likely and have forced back.
So they do
Enterprise
actually
holding strong.
Take the opposite approach this round though and slow down their playstyle a bit. Be a bit more diligent with their clearing. Well, that little piece of cardboard was in the way for Pampered. You can't fix that issue with a tech pause. Beers with a double kill. And this time, what will prolong this match will not be attack, it will be Man LFO themselves. Talk about a clean entry. Tuhan, yeah, one and done, and player now in the 1v4, and it will be 6-3. Hopefully no
What's
tech.
more likely though? Yeah, Man LFO winning this round or Bappin getting a attack? What's more likely?
Well, Man LFO more likely for sure, but it's probably a case of both.
Both highly probable.
All right. So
let's find out.
First part of this done. Can we get into the next round without a tech? It's a legacy game. So far, so good as we head into the bands. No way. Nah. He's like, at this point, even the admin's like, really? Alright, are you kidding? Are we gonna have to do this every single round? Alright, let's just throw it straight to the break.
It's a level 1v1, the close end for the ball. Win saves them what is going on? He grabbed that one out. 2 on 1. We're gonna see. Oh, yeah! Se difensivo. Si vai tentando plantar mais a Brasileira. Prioritization. Immediately on the diffuser, Lagonis needs to get in there. You gotta go, Lagonis. Why are you not looking?
As I was saying, we have to look at what's ahead of us now and not worry too much about
Wait,
the
did you
past.
see that?
What? Wait, what is this doing here? Whoa, what the hell is going on?
Guys, we need to go.
Jess, what are you doing here?
We need to go now.
Jess, Doc is gone. We have to go back.
There's no time. There's really no time.
Can't take this anymore. I'm tired.
He's our head coach. I have to go save him.
You're already dead.
There's no escaping now.
So we return. Enterprise up 6-3 against Man LFO. It's been tech galore, tech issue galore. Into the full rehost to try and sort this one out. And plaguing poor old Bappin. And Fisher gets reset from 210.
That's good banter.
Well, Tuhan's right though. Worry about being 6-3 down. Great debut. Says Tuhan, 2 beers. This every world in which Man LFO could extend this a little bit longer. Can't rush greatest. I will say the banter in the chat in this match has been the best of the 3 tonight. Enterprise, it's a matter of should and when they close this out. Surely there's no world in which Man LFO can get themselves back into this one.
Yeah, you would imagine so. That being said, Man LFO showing siege. I like to go for more controlled approach. Spawn attempt here from Realize. This is outside towards yellow, but forebodes that quickly. Blackbeard again in play here for Man LFO. They'll bring the Deimos as well for that pressure. I think an intriguing decision. We'll see how much of an impact that's able to have. Still an opportunity, I think, to push this game a little while longer. EP on the flip side. Let's see how they respond. Pretty standard lineup from them at the moment, leaning heavily into that stall util combo of the Goyo and the smoke. Pushes either side, either towards CO default or medium rib default a challenge. Forces the util clearance here for Man LFO. They don't have the Twitch in play to lean into. as they posture over towards admin side and claim some control. Drone economy though weak, only the 3 remaining.
Slow start to this round. Bapper taking the contest and wins it out against Pluto. No graphical errors there for him in that moment. For sure, dead. Make that 2-11, but only 0-1 now as the host scrubbed the numbers, as Beers pointed out earlier. Speaking of Beers holding this angle towards break. Minute 20 on the clock. They do stall themselves out. Relays, does he think about peeking this? No, holds long dash, doesn't need to. I'll look to even fall back now. Huntersell prepped and thrown by Tuhan. Pressure coming from Sharky on the Blackbeard. Scars to try and get some pressure as well on the glass, and it's falling apart now for Enterprise.
Yeah, Tuhan's caught. No nitro. Sharky can plant.
Player just feeling like he has to push out and help from the other two, and Tuhan, big kill from him. Trapped. Not trapped at all. Makes his way out. Hunter in the 1v2 post-plant, and he can't win out against Tuhan, and this one is done. You said 7-3 coming into this match, and it will be 7-3 at the conclusion of it. Enterprise will begin their defense of this region with a resounding victory. Just been reading. I can't just not read the chat, though. I just love it. It's good. We didn't really get any kind of banter in the first 2 games, and this one definitely provided more than I anticipated. In the end, 3 rounds is probably good enough for Man LFO. Certainly the heavy underdogs in this game. Enterprise far too good. 7-3. Good scoreline for them.
Yeah, point to point in terms of time, it won't go down as being one of the quicker matches, but that was not really in control of Enterprise themselves. They did all they could inside of the server to have a pretty dominant performance, and Man LFO, unfortunately, they lacked attacking depth on Consulate. That was exposed, but certainly they could take some positive takeaways. I think Beers takes the crown as being probably the standout player inside of the server. Like, sure, maybe didn't post the greatest numbers of all 10 players, but considering his level of experience, I think he did a really, really clean job. And then on the side of Enterprise, it was kind of much of the same as we've come to expect from them. So overall, don't walk away with too many takeaways outside Beers playing well, but EP continuing the good form so far. It's only day 1, so extract from that what you will, but they didn't go into today expecting a free win, and they treated their opposition, I think, with a decent level of respect.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of today overall, I would say probably all the games went the way expected, except for, I guess, match number 2. Dream Warriors really, really stood out in that game. 7-2, yeah, my goodness, 7-3, 7-2, 7-3, and yet we're probably about 15 minutes over time with all of the tech issues and rehosts really kind of just almost being like the proverbial 4th game in some ways. Like, if we had have had a normal night in terms of the 4 best of 1s, we would have already been 3-4 rounds into the 4th one. But oh well, that's just the way it goes sometimes. And in the end, Chiefs too good for TSG, in the same vein as EP too good for Man LFO. And the big surprise was indeed Dream Warriors 7-2 over Outlast. Outlast Gaming have got some work to do, and I guess in some ways, you know, TSG, Outlast, Dream Warriors, Man LFO, those are the 4 that are trying to avoid that 7th spot. And that's a good early result for Dream Warriors to kind of, you know, only play day 1, but be at the front of that.
Yeah, good kickstart. Round differential, of course, as well, will be a pretty big, could potentially be a large factor as to how the standings shake up as well. So something to keep in mind, that you want to mitigate those big losses, especially if you are the underdog going into a matchup. It's really important to not throw away any result for free, because it really can come back to bite you, and you really don't want to go down as the only team to miss playoffs for this 2nd stage. So critically important that the teams in the mix, or that proverbial bottom 4, I think it's probably going to shape up to be at the moment, take every gaming and every round really by that extent really, really seriously, because we don't quite know just yet how close it could truly end up being. As for what we expect to be the top 3 teams, Chiefs, EP, and Ludus, still yet to be seen. Again, not massive takeaways. Chiefs looked good. I think their roles, at least on a clubhouse game, looked strong. Still yet to see that develop on other maps, which might be a little bit more hybrid in their approach. EP, much the same, looked clean. Tuhan with a big clutch at the end, and player was firing as well. Rest of the team doing well. Excited as well, yeah, like I mentioned, to see Luda as well in the next play day, because we just don't quite know what they have on offer so far as well.
Yep, and that's going to wrap up APL OCE for day one in terms of the action that we had. I was going to say it was a quick and a good one, but it was probably just a good one in the end for the 3 games that we had tonight. In terms of OCE, it will return in 3 days' time. For Playdate 2 specifically. And of course, there's going to be a lot of Siege happening over really the next month or so, Guz. So make sure for those on the main channel, and this is the beauty of being back on the main channel for the APL group stages, it's not too difficult to find out when things are happening and what games are on next. I have no idea what's on after this, but I'm sure there'll be something, as there's so many regions, so many games, lots of Siege. We're back, baby. It's good to be back. Group stage underway. OCE in 3 days' time, and we'll see you then.
涙の色はエメラルドブルー宝石みたいに光ってる流れ星を見上げていたあの夜もなんだったっけ見えなくてうなる里のクラクションだって